but really delightful. A little cooler than normal this time
Pretty
of year.
Comfortable, though. Yeah.
Cody Anderson, the big story, game 1 here for the Indians in their win over the Tigers. 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, struck out 3.
Enjoyed seeing him make the adjustments that we talked about from the first 2 innings on through the last 3. And really, when you break down this outing for Cody Anderson, it's the second time he would have to face a team in his consecutive starts. He faced Tampa the first 2 to open, then he had Detroit again. But really a coming-of-age moment, I think, for him. He could have really folded. He could have really had a lot of damage done earlier in those first couple innings. As you had said, Matt, he gave up 5 hits in the first 2 innings of the most he had given up compared to his past 3 starts.
Right.
So, for him, a really good, solid effort. Bullpen picked up. Zach McAllister, Manship Shaw, Cody Allen, and the offense, Francisco Lindor, again, in the middle of it. Big-time win for Game 1.
So the Indians will try to sweep the series now. They obviously have one game in this series that they won't be able to play. No word yet on when that game potentially would be made up. But the Indians won Thursday. They won the first game here this afternoon. They win again. They sweep the series and continue their climb in the wild card standings. Trevor Bauer making his way in from the bullpen with pitching coach Mickey Callaway. We'll be back with today's first pitch in Game 2 of this doubleheader between the Tribe and the Tigers next. At Progressive Field, Dana Demuth, the crew chief, talking over things with Terry Francona as we get ready. Indians have taken the field behind Trevor Bauer, and our keys to the game are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. What do you think? Can they do it again?
I'll tell you what. I mean, you look at Randy Wolf and the numbers that he's put up there, definitely for the taking. I think Bauer's fastball command, that was the one key in that start against the White Sox that really changed how that outing went. He was able to get the ball back down in the strike zone. That's something he's going to have to do again today.
Let's take a look at Brad Ausmus' starting lineup for the Tigers. It's brought to you by Toyota. Rajai Davis is going to be the leadoff man. Right-handed hitter. They'll go with 4 left-handed bats in the lineup here for the nightcap. Behind Rajai Davis, it's Tyler Collins and Miguel Cabrera. J.D. Martinez will hit cleanup. Victor Martinez will bat 5th. You'll notice that Victor's at first base with Miguel Cabrera DHing. Nick Castellanos, third baseman, is going to bat 6th. And Alex Avila, who's had really good numbers in his career against Trevor Bauer, hitting 7th. We haven't seen much of Avila lately, though. Dixon Machado is hitting 8th, and Andrew Romine will bat 9th.
Tonight's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher will be Trevor Bauer, as we alluded to. The fastball command. This is the one thing that he talked about in spring training being a big area he wanted to work on, his command, keeping those walks down. And unfortunately, it's been kind of up and down for him in that category. But today, facing a Tiger lineup that really plays well with his stuff, I think his breaking ball, he can, even double and triple up on it, I think, to some of these middle-of-the-order bats and just elevate late, and I think he'll be okay.
Well, Bauer's ready to go. Rajai Davis strides to the plate. He's ready to tee it up. And away we go.
How happy are you? It's not a day-night doubleheader.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Good call that we didn't do that. Yeah.
I mean, there is football to keep us occupied, but.
Bauer's first pitch of the game in there, a fastball for a strike. And Davis squibs it foul at the first base side.
Shadow's going to probably play a little bit of a role here in the early going. You see Bauer right now pitching in the shade. There's a little ray of light in between home plate. So it could be tough for some of these hitters to pick up some of these pitches.
Fouls that off. How do you try to use that to your advantage if you can?
You throw in. You throw in because you're trying to pick up, the location of that ball. The closer you can get it to those guys, the harder, it'll be for them to get the hands through. But it's just picking up the spin. It's dark, then it's light, and then it's dark again. So as a pitcher, pound the zone. Don't mess around.
Strike 3 called. Bauer pounds the zone, and Davis takes a seat. One away.
Setting the Indians defense for you, brought to you by Ram. Around the diamond, Sands in left, Martinez in center, Ryan Rayburn in right. Giovanni Urshela at third base, Lindor at short, Mike Aviles gets to start at second, Carlos Santana at first, and Roberto Perez doing the catching. 2 errors only for the Indians defense in their last 62 games. It has certainly been a big reason why they have continued to get a lot of wins. And when you're not making mistakes, especially in the field, this was something last year, boy, they really struggled defensively, and it cost them a lot of games. So down the stretch, making these plays, and big reason why the young guys on the left side of the infield are Urshela and Lindor.
Yeah, not giving the other team extra opportunities, extending innings. A little bit low to Tyler Collins.
Bauer gets that 2-seam fastball going. Froze Rajai Davis. That first strikeout. He's able to run that 2-seamer, started at the left-handed hitter's hip, bring it back over the inside. Could be a big weapon for him today.
He's behind him 3-1. Breaks his bat. And right to Lindor. 2 down. Dana DeMute, the crew chief, has the plate. Mike Esterbrook is at first. Ed Hickox at second. Toby Bassner is down at third. It's got to be a good sound when you're a pitcher and you hear that kind
Love it. Firewood.
Balsa wood.
Gonna need it. It's gonna be like 45 here tonight. Gonna need a fire.
2 down for Miguel Cabrera. And he looks at a strike over the outside corner.
I think you can already notice from Bauer a lot of composure in the zone with authority so far. It's a good start.
Breaking ball pulled to third. Urshela will spin around. Perfect throw. Tigers go 1-2-3. Bauer cruises. Indians coming to bat. Take a look at the starting lineups for the Cleveland Indians tonight under Terry Francona, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. All right-handed bats. Francisco Lindor will lead it off, then it's Mike Aviles, followed by Carlos Santana. Ryan Rayburn in the cleanup spot. Chris Johnson knocked in a couple in the first game. Then Jerry Sands. Giovanni Urshela, Roberto Perez, and Michael Martinez rounded out.
And tonight's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher for the Detroit Tigers is Randy Wolf, the left-hander. Top 4 starts already. You see the numbers in ERA over 6.5. Only 22 innings and 5 walks and 15 strikeouts. The opponent's average, though, 330. So, Matty, you asked, can they make it 14 in a row? I like our chances there.
39 years old, Randy Wolf.
The ageless wonder.
To right field. And J.D. Martinez makes that catch for out number 1.
Let's take a look at the Tigers' defense, brought to you by Ram. Around the outfield will be Collins at left, Davis in center, J.D. Martinez in right, Castellanos is at third, Machado at short, Romine at second, Victor Martinez getting the start at first, and Alex Avila doing the catching. It'll be interesting to see how Randy Wolf goes about. You know, as an older guy, know the velocity is not there, but he's always crafty. And you watch him in Milwaukee for those years when he played there, and he'll pick at the corners. Again, not going to wow you with stuff at this point in his career, but as a guy is going to challenge you on the inside part of the plate with 2 strikes and have some good off speed up there.
Aviles fouls it back into the glove and out of the glove of Alex Avila. He checked on a ball down low, did not go around.
It's always mind-boggling, and I know you and I have watched enough of these games where you get those soft-tossing starting pitchers out there, and for some reason you look up in the 6th, 7th inning, and they've only given up a couple of hits.
Yeah. Well, this guy, you talk about well-traveled and perseverance. Last year, he pitched for 4 different organizations. Signed with Arizona, began the year at AAA Reno. Also pitched with the Marlins, the Orioles, Angels. Only made 6 appearances in the big leagues, though, that year. So most of that was in the minors. Between third and short, perfectly placed. And Mike Aviles has an infield single.
Another shattered bat. Again, good location from Randy Wolf here, but Mike Aviles, a little seeing eye single here on the left side, gets right in on him and shatters that bat in half. Machado just not enough time to get up and make a throw. Great job keeping it, though, in the infield. It's a good little player for them. And they got Iglesias, who's their everyday shortstop. Well, Machado, he's a guy who's going to get some chances here in September to show what he can do. A lot of guys auditioning, I think, for this the Detroit roster next year. New general manager, Al Avila, going to have some decisions to make.
Carlos Santana takes a strike.
And whether Osmus is the manager here next year or not, definitely want to take advantage if you're a young Detroit Tiger.
Carlos Santana with 15 homers, 68 driven in, 25 doubles.
Hit his 100th homer for the Indians, April 19th at Minnesota. Third Indian, switch hitter with 100-plus homers. Pretty good company. I'm going to guess Eddie Murray is in there, and Victor. Yep. Santana idolizing Victor coming up as a young kid. I remember when he was in camp with us the first time that we saw Los, and we all have our idols, but man, to see like all the mannerisms, he walked around like him, he swung the bat like him, he dressed like him. That was fun to see. This little kid. He had a bazooka from behind home plate.
Yes, he did. He just couldn't stay healthy back there. I mean, he had obviously the knee injury, which was awful. That happened in Boston. But then the foul tips, they just kept coming way too many times. The frequency, just too much.
Right. I think, too, moving him to first base, and he doesn't like the DH because he likes to be in the game. But like Lonnie Chisenhall making a positional change, not necessarily that Carlos made a significant change because he was a first baseman before, but maybe mentally eased him up a little bit. Didn't have to worry about calling a game, as much. And give a lot of credit because catchers, that's a tough deal. If you have a bad day at the plate, you can't take it into your defense. You can't take it into your game calling.
Yeah. You got to separate without a doubt.
And Los was pretty good at that. He's pretty good at separating. But you're right. I think it's helped him to move, to the corner, playing third base. I think Helton and Tito talked about that. It made him a better infielder.
2-2 count for Santana, and that's low, full count.
Starting the runner here.
Avilas looked like he was about maybe to take off, but then time called as Avila wants to go out and talk with Randy Wolf.
That's another guy, too, with Alex Avila injuries, costing him some valuable time.
I just noticed, Jensen, he's wearing a hockey mask.
Yeah.
I don't remember him ever wearing the hockey mask before.
I think you're right.
He's had some concussion issues behind the plate. Now the payoff. Runner does not go, and Santana bounces it slowly to third. Castellanos throws it low, and Victor cannot dig it out, and Avilas alertly goes to third. Now, Victor Martinez hasn't played much first base at all this year, and you get a low throw, and it's a tough play. Now, I understand, hey, if you're in the big leagues, you have to be able to make that play, but it's not an easy one right out of the gate first inning.
Take another look at it. I think this is more a bad throw. It's off to the side, kind of pulls him off. That's a tough play anyway.
Yeah.
Castellanos, it looked like he just kind of rushed it. That's a good hustle play, though, by Santana, getting down the line and forcing that throw.
So you'll give Santana credit for an infield single. And Avilas goes to third on the errant throw by Castellanos. Well, the Indians have a chance to jump on Randy Wolf right out of the gate here. First and third, one away. And Rayburn takes a strike. It's not like Randy Wolf is just riding out the string either. He missed 2 years ago. He missed the entire season after he had Tommy John surgery for the second time in his career.
Wow. Some dedication coming back. And we've talked to Josh Tomlin, Carlos Carrasco, guys that have had to go through that. Rehab's not fun. Thank goodness I never had to deal with anything like that. But former teammates I've talked to, you just don't want to be in the desert when it's 115 degrees and there's nobody there.
Yeah, Wolf was in a pretty good run there with Milwaukee. He had a 3.69 ERA in 2011, a 13-game winner. Next year he struggled, went to 3-10, and then the year after that, that's when the arm went. He only pitched in 5 games for Baltimore and then missed all of 2013 rehabbing before he came back last year. And as I said, only had 6 games in the big leagues, but pitched, throughout the minor leagues. And then signed on originally with Toronto this year back in March. There's a line drive base hit into center field. That'll score Aviles. Santana stops at second, and the Indians strike first here in the nightcap.
This continues to punish left-handed pitching this season. It's been a remarkable run for Rayburn, and even better against his former mates. It's going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. Solid piece of hitting by Rayburn, hanging breaking ball, and he crushes it to center. Indians go up 1-0.
Rayburn batting over 300 against his old club this year. Career .295 hitter against the Tigers. It's not quite as impressive as what he does against the Chicago White Sox, but nonetheless,
we'll take it.
Impressive. Now Chris Johnson. He was the hero, one of many heroes, I suppose, in Game 1 today, but he had back-to-back RBI singles in the 5th and 6th innings when that was still a very close game. In fact, his base hit got the Indians on the board in the 5th inning.
Remember, this guy is a couple years removed from being in the race for the National League batting title. Now, when this trade was made, sending Borney and Swisher to Atlanta, you thought on paper, okay, this is probably more of shifting contracts one way or the other. This is a guy still, and he admitted he wants to come in. He wants to make an impression. And I mean, you just don't challenge for the batting title, and then all of a sudden it falls apart. So, some injuries he's had to deal with and some consistent playing time. I think, again, this is somebody in September, Tito, and everybody can look at it and say, well, where does he fit next year?
Two on, one out, and we're in the first.
Well, they're having trouble.
Yeah.
They've got to get on the same page. One-three wiggle. Here we go.
Tell you what, the Indians, with runners on base so far today, 11 out of 17. And with runners in scoring position, 8 for 14. And those were stats that they struggled with mightily for most of the year.
Absolutely. A big reason why they struggled at home. He couldn't buy 3 or 4 run games for a while there.
And Johnson goes waving at a pitch up high and strikes out, 2 down.
We need Jerry to go deep into the early dusk here so we can get that scoreboard Jerry going again.
Stayed foul right behind the plate.
I remember pitching against Jerry Sands in 2013 in AAA in Iowa. It's about a 25-degree day. We had just gotten in from Albuquerque. Oh, what about, I think, 5. Strap it up. That was our home opener. I was not supposed to pitch that night. I came in. Matty, I'm telling you, this thing was still going up as it went over the fence. Just man strength.
He's a big human being. I tell you what, he runs really well in the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you just look at him in the clubhouse, you say, well, there's a first baseman DH. But then you watch him play the outfield. He moves very well.
I remember going to the locker room when he got called up here and shook his hand. I said, you don't remember me, but I remember the ball you hit off me. You got a voicemail from NASA.
Now the 1-1. A little bit outside.
Oh, that Oppo grand slam he hit here against Minnesota earlier in August. Man strength.
Yeah. 26th pitch of the inning already for Wolf, and it's fouled back.
Now, we mentioned the opposing batting average against Randy Wolf, 330 coming into this game. Indians already with 3 hits. He's getting close to 30 pitches here. I think another couple runs here will be so key for Trevor Bauer's mentality going back out there, knowing he's got some cushion. He can really attack.
Got a piece that was upstairs and bearing in on him.
Let's see where this location is. Ooh.
Little glancer.
Well, you mentioned, I mean, Avila, there's some guys that no matter where they go, they get hit with little nicks, and he's a guy that definitely has worn his fair share.
2 on, 2 out. And the 2-2 pitch is chopped foul. Well, you know, if you look at the Indians up through August the 7th, they were 10 games below 500 and averaging 3.9 runs per game. Since then, they're 10 games over 500 and averaging 4.9 runs a game.
Wow.
So a full run more per game over their last 32.
And I think the stat, when you give the starting pitcher for the Indians 4 more runs, they're undefeated.
Unbeatable, pretty much. Yeah, fouled back.
And that also speaks to the amount of talent in this rotation. We had Jarrett Wright on Indians Live on Thursday, and I asked him, I said, when you're an opposing team coming in here and you're going to see 95 plus from pretty much everybody that takes the mound, and amazing off-speed stuff, you're not running the bat rack wanting to face these guys. You're just not. There's no team that comes in now and says, oh, we can't wait to face Carrasco, Salazar, Bauer. They're not. There's no team that's doing that now. But that's a huge reason why when we got the offense finally going, that they're able to run off, you know, these kind of wins.
30th pitch of the inning goes to the backstop. He crossed up Avila. And so Santana goes to third, Rayburn down to second. And it's a full count for Jerry Sands. Now, obviously, these guys haven't worked together a whole bunch. I think he crossed him up, or maybe it just took off on him.
Yeah, he might have. This is the 3rd time they've had to meet. They're walking out again.
I mean, I would think normally that's an easy fastball that's up for Avila to snare, except he was expecting that thing to break.
Yeah, it looked like his reaction was expecting something different.
So,
all right, this is going. We're going to need football.
Here's a 3-2 pitch from Randy Wolf. Slow breaking ball, and it's popped foul out of play.
It's a great at-bat by Sands right now. Wolf's walking back to the mound like I've thrown him everything. Just put it in play. 10th pitch of the at-bat coming up. He's thrown the whole kitchen sink at him. This is a backbreaker, though, if you're the Tigers, and Sands is able to put one in the gap here.
Another foul ball.
Be like Henry Rowengartner and throw him the floater.
We just faced Thursday night. That blanked out. The big guy. Alfredo Simon.
Oh, yeah.
He's got that.
That's
Every
right.
once in a while, he'll flip that little Ephus pitch up there. The 3-2 once again, and a long fly ball slicing foul.
Can't buy a fair ball.
This will be the 12th pitch of the at-bat for Jerry Sands. Brad Osmus and Gene Lamont looking on from the Tiger dugout. This is what you call close to a worst-case scenario.
Yep.
Although if he can get out of it, they'll feel a lot better about things. 7 of the last 8 pitches were fouled off. And it's ball 4.
Great at bat. Great at bat all the way around. Saw everything. Disappointed enough not to give in. Close pitch here, but you're right. Now the worst case scenario is really coming alive. You got to get the bullpen going if you're Detroit. And 34 pitches is,
wow.
That's a long time to be out there.
That's a lot of pitches for anybody, but I'm assuming when you're 39, even more so.
I mean, it's 63 degrees, but he's got a firm lather going.
Giovanni Urshela, normally a pretty aggressive swinger. See what he does here. Takes, and it's ball 1 outside. Well, he's 21 out of 35 for strikes, but
your one saving grace is that it's September, and you got a lot of arms down there.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, this is the regular season. Oh, boy.
He just tantalizes the outside corner with that pitch. 1-1. Urshela had a good ball game in the series opener against Detroit. He had 2 doubles, drove in a couple of runs. That's low. 2-1.
Man, if you're Urshela right here, you're just sitting on one pitch, one spot. Don't even worry about the changeup. Don't worry about the breaking ball. Nowhere to put him.
Out of play.
Plenty of souvenirs already.
Giovanni Urshela would have been 6 years old when Randy Wolf made his debut.
Wow.
Professionally, that is.
Right.
He was a strapping 8-year-old when Randy made his major league debut. Right now, a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
40th pitch coming here, too. Nobody up in Detroit's bullpen either.
And only 1 run in for Cleveland. It seems like it should be more than that. Out of play. This inning began when Lindor flied to right. Then Aviles, the infield single between third and short. Santana had the infield single. And Rayburn knocked in a run with a line drive to center. Chris Johnson struck out, and then Jerry Sands, a 12-pitch at bat, drew a walk to load him up.
Tribe's got 9 foul balls with 2 strikes. Battling.
He almost went. No, he did not go, says Mike Estabrook.
We got action. Let's see you go. Good hold. Good hold, Gio.
Everybody will be moving on a 3-2 pitch. But the way this inning has gone, Urshela's got to maintain a little bit of patience here. You would think Wolf's got to throw him a strike. But
I think he just wants to sit down. I mean, this inning looks ugly from a pitch count perspective, but he's one strike away from really escaping some big damage. They just cannot get on the same page either.
Shoots it foul into the seats. And we're about to get the 9th pitch of the at-bat for Giovanni Urshela.
This is like when you go to Dave & Buster's and the machine just keeps throwing pitches out.
The set, the 3-2. The runners go, and another foul back out of play.
He's going to be at 50 pitches. We keep doing this foul ball stuff.
Wow.
5 of the 7 hitters this inning, 5 pitches or more.
Well, that's how you get a 43 pitch count in the first inning of a game. He just can't get anybody to either A, put it in play, or B, put them away. Runners go. It's ball 4. He's walked in a run. 2-0 Cleveland. Back-to-back walks here in the first.
I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. I mean, you have Sands with a really good at-bat, Urshela fighting off a couple of good off-speed pitches and then some heaters. As much as Randy Wolf and it seems Alex Avila, they're not on the same page. I give the Indians hitters a lot of credit. They have really made him work and show everything he's got.
Our player profile brought to you by Levin Furniture. Randy Wolf was originally a second-round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies back in 1997 out of Pepperdine. He grew up in California, where when he was in high school, he threw a no-hitter and a perfect game in consecutive starts as a junior in high school.
Pepperdine. Now, go to school in Pepperdine in Malibu.
Not too shabby,
how much homework you getting done out there?
Of course, his brother, Jim Wolf, has had instances where he's been on the crew when Randy has pitched. He just doesn't. He recuses himself if he's got the plate that night.
Right.
That's the only thing he won't do is call balls and strikes for his brother.
Bet they get a nice little breakdown, though, after the game about who was right and who wasn't.
Roberto Perez, the 8th man to bat in the inning. They do have action in the Tiger bullpen. And Perez waves at a pitch out of the strike zone. It's 0-2.
Still 1 pitch away here from really escaping big-time damage. So he's battled. You got to wonder what the leash is going to be now. You get out of this inning. How much longer do you send him out there? Again, not a 23-year-old kid.
Kyle Ryan getting loose. Way outside.
If you're Roberto Perez, don't help him out here. Don't go chasing.
In the air, slicing, and out of play.
Shocker.
We've already gone through 24 baseballs here in the opening frame.
It's Tony Amato and Marty doing downstairs running for some balls. 12 foul balls already with 2 strikes.
12 just with 2 strikes.
Just with 2 strikes, yeah.
The 1-2 in the dirt.
Good job.
Well, you said it 7 pitches ago that he was going to be at 50 pitches, and
here we are.
Here we are.
And you have to wonder now from a health perspective. I mean, 50 pitches is it's a big bullpen, but you get time in between. And now you're in a situation where this 39-year-old guy.
I can't remember the last 50-pitch inning I saw.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
If I have, right. Swung on and missed. Perez is out to end the inning. Randy Wolf fires 50 pitches in the first, gives up a pair. Indians leave him loaded. Seat. Most home runs in their first 2 seasons in a Tigers uniform. Cecil Fielder hit 95. Rocky Colavito hit 80. Miguel Cabrera 71. Dean Palmer 67. Mickey Tettleton 63. And J.D. Martinez with 59.
How much is Houston regretting this?
Yeah, it's one of those situations you wonder what the heck happened. You know, Rick and I have often thought that just coming to Detroit and hitting with Cabrera and Victor Martinez, listening to them, talking to them, watching them, has had to just have a huge impact on him. You know, it's one of those situations where the talent may have always been there.
Just getting it out.
But, yeah, he just wasn't able to do it in Houston. But he comes to Detroit, has a couple of pretty good bats, veteran guys who know how to break down pitchers and, you know, sit on pitches, and maybe he's just learned a great deal from them, and it's worked out.
Yeah, I think, you know, as we mentioned with Carlos Santana and Victor Martinez, you know, in his time here, you know, you watch J.D. Martinez now, he's got some Cabrera-isms, you know, in his swing now. And if you watch his hand load, and I mean, there's a little to it.
He went around. Bauer gets his second strikeout, 1 down.
But I think to your point, and I agree, when you're around, you know, those guys, it certainly has an effect. Oh, that's nasty. Right off the top. That's always been Bauer's bread and butter, the curveball. But when he throws it off the top of his fastball and there's no hump in it and he really gets behind it, it's pretty devastating.
And Victor Martinez steps in, looks at a fastball for strike 1. That's what's so important for Trevor, is just being able to establish his fastball early in the game, early in counts. Let the hitters know I'm going to throw it in and out all day.
I think mentally, too, he's a guy that if he can get locked in from pitch one and he doesn't let things rattle him, I think that Chicago start was really a big growing moment for him, where in instances of the past, he's kind of let innings get away from him, especially early in the ball game. And you walk the bases loaded, and you're able to come back and get out of that inning. That's a huge confidence booster as well.
Up high with a heater, 3-1. Nick Castellanos waits on deck. And Victor fouls that one first base side to Omar Vizquel. Never needed a glove when he played.
And the one he wore wasn't very big anyway.
Nope. Not much bigger than the size of his hand.
Right. I just always marveled at how he knew the timing of getting that ball over there. It always seemed like he would get it by a half step every time.
One out walk for Victor Martinez.
Watching him and Robbie Alomar turn double plays during batting practice. It's one of my all-time favorites growing up.
Well, the thing that really changed Omar's career, too, I think, is that, not only was he just a diamond player in terms of defensively, but all of a sudden he came here and he developed his offensive game, which I think that pretty much puts him in that Hall of Fame category. I'll be shocked if he's not voted in.
Yeah, and certainly, hitting in front of Carlos Baerga and Albert Bell, some nice line of protection.
Yep.
He's got to be a first ballot.
Ended up playing a long time, and everywhere he went, he was a great defender. And, one of those players that never seemed to lose a step, even as he moved over to second base toward the end of his career. Just missed outside, and it's 2-0.
This is still a big shutdown inning for Bauer. Remember, he sat for 30 minutes, while that inning transpired. So being able to get back up, pound the strike zone, try and get a quick inning, get your offense back out there.
Bullseye with that heater, 2-1.
Heater in.
Ed Castellanos can't do anything with it but foul it back.
It's a good job getting back in the count. I like when he goes inside a lot more with authority. It just feels like it opens everything else up for him. And certainly helps with his breaking ball, too, because now you're forcing guys to really not be able to stand on top of the plate. I know Kinsler will do it no matter what. Some of these middle-of-the-order bats, and even Castellanos hitting a little farther down, it can really drive the ball. It certainly helps that second and third time around the lineup.
Bullseye. And Castellanos will take a seat. Third strikeout for Bauer. Our Circle K strikeout. I mean, just painted the outside corner.
Little two-seam.
Yeah.
That's been a big pitch for him to harness command of. Look at that great late run. Nothing you can do if you're Castellanos. That ball as a hitter, it looked so far off the plate, and then that last 15, 20 feet, pretty nasty right there by Bauer.
Two down for Alex Avila. Fastball up and away.
He's been pitching about 91, 92 miles an hour today, maybe a little click down from about 93, 94 where he usually is. But I like his execution so far. Berto Perez calling a good game early.
In the air to center field. Michael Martinez back onto the track. Almost fell down. He does go down, but he holds on to the ball. Lost his footing. And the inning is over. Michael putting a little drama into the fly ball to center field, but he gets the job done.
MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected with live radio broadcasts, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
Michael Martinez, who made the catch to end the inning, will lead off and takes a strike over the outside corner.
You and I were watching a replay. It looked like he tripped over himself.
Yeah. Spiked himself going back on that one.
That'll increase the degree of difficulty.
Yes, indeed. Sure, his heart skipped a beat. Back out of play. 3 for 6 with a ding-dong against Randy Wolf.
Okay. I'll roll the dice here.
Missed down and in.
Got to think now with Wolf, he get a couple guys on here if he's got a long inning. I don't think Ausmus waits. You don't want to get in a pretty big hole early here.
Fouls that one back. It stays 1-2. And that's out of play.
More foul balls with 2 strikes. 14 of them now.
Now the count evens at 2-2.
A lot of laboring pitches for Wolf. It's just not been easy for him at all.
Kind of a half swing, but he just fights it off. Watch this. Just a... let me just get a piece of that. Strikes him out. Randy Wolf has struck out 3 of the first 9 batters. And as Francisco Lindor comes to the plate, let's go downstairs to Andre Knott.
You know, guys, there was a lot of talk about when Francisco Lindor was going to get called up and why it took so long and things like that. And Terry Francona told a great story. He says, look, when I sat down with Frankie in spring training, he goes, look, you're going to be here a long time. You're going to be an important player. And he goes, and I hope I'm here with you for a long time. He goes, but I want you to be the right player. I want you to come up here and to be able to dominate and never go back to the minors. And I know for the people that didn't have the patience, I think the patience worked out for the Indians organization where you see where Lindor is today and after that conversation.
Well, it goes back to what Terry was talking about when I asked him the other day about Lindor, and he said, usually the league adjusts to the player, and that hasn't happened. Lindor has continued to get better. They haven't been able to slow him down.
Well, we saw him in spring training. We knew the defense was there. He was big league ready in camp. It was a matter of the offense. And I think, give the Indians credit because you have that kind of pressure to bring up your number 1 prospect.
Socked right back up the middle.
That's a tough temptation to avoid. And really, it was the offense and the consistency of that offensive production that was in doubt.
Stat of the game brought to you by Buick. 31 multi-hit games this year, most by an Indian in their first 78 career games since Roy Weatherly in 1936. And you may remember that 1936 team was the last club to have 10 or more hits in, 12 straight home games?
12 or 13,
13,
like that.
They got to 13. That's the record this club just eclipsed today.
We're going way back in the annals of the history books today.
Yeah.
1925, 1936. But with Lindor, I think it was the right thing because he hadn't really failed at a high level. And when you're in AAA, you're facing guys that have been to the big leagues or that'll be there soon. In learning how to grow through failure. We all know this is a game of failure, but that's something that he needed to do. I remember talking to him when he was in AA, and he said himself, he goes, I'm not ready yet. And that, as a 20-year-old kid, and you got that kind of insight, being that honest, saying, I still have stuff to work on, even when people are showering you with praise, you're seeing the fruits of the labor. I mean, the guy, I know you and Rick talk about it a lot, the energy and the passion that he brings, and it has really influenced this club so positively.
Hanging breaking ball to third. Castellanos to second for 1 on to first. It's an inning-ending double play. 2 complete. Indians 2, Tigers nothing.
When the Indians host the White Sox, grab your dogs and head out to the corner for the best setting for baseball. Visit Indians.com 4 tickets. Chili dog sounds really good about now.
Well, I'm sure we could find you one.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. Take a couple of them.
Trevor Bauer's 30th pitch of the late afternoon is high for ball 1.
I'd like to see him use his changeup a little bit today.
Good slider right there, and it's 1-2.
I'll never forget the first day in 2012. I was in camp with Arizona, and Bauer's locker was right next to mine. Rolled in without 30 minutes before the first meeting.
Right center field, that's in a gap. Rayburn cuts it off. Does a nice job to hold Machado to a leadoff single.
Good piece of hitting there by Machado, too. Pitches up in the zone. Goes the other way with it. Also, good job by Rayburn getting over there quickly to cut it off. Not too bad of a location, but still up and out over. But Rayburn does a nice job cutting this one off, keeping it from extra bases.
So you got Lockard next to Trevor?
Lockard next to Bauer. And we had not seen the long toss phenomenon yet. So it was a spectacle because Charlie Nagy was the pitching coach, and he had to go be the cutoff guy in the middle to get the ball back. So he's going foul pole to foul pole. And I mean, the fans out there, man, they're just standing and watching in awe. And we were too. Like, I've never seen this. But, man, it was really eye-opening to see the arm strength. And, you know, it's been well documented. He does things, you know, differently. But, man, he put it together. Got called up to AAA in Reno there. It was a big boost for us. We won the AAA National Championship. Reminds me of Sowers. Jeremy Sowers, just in the whole mentality of kind of thinking outside the box a little bit. He's very deliberate with his answers. Constantly seeks information. And sometimes I think they can kind of get in his way.
Missed inside. And it's 2-1. I don't think it ever matters if somebody wants to go against the conventional grain of thinking or the way of doing things, but as long as they're not unreasonable, you have to be reasonable to a point. I mean, look, this game's been played for over 100 years. There's a reason pitchers do what they do, and the routines are the way they are. It doesn't mean you can't tweak them or alter them or maybe change them, make them better. But you know, to just sort of throw out 100 years of baseball wisdom and say, "Well, I don't agree with any of that," that's unreasonable. And I think Trevor has found that happy medium where he can incorporate his ideas, things that he's learned and brought to the table, and still do what the Indians feel he needs to do as well. Strike 3 called. Andrew Romine out looking. 4 Ks for Bauer. 1 down here in the 3rd. Let's go down to Andre, who can add some insight to Bauer.
Absolutely. Well, you know, since we have Jensen, I want to go off with this. You talk about being his teammate when he was younger, right out of college, 21 years old, and seeing him do the phenomenon that is and watching him warm up. I know a lot of the Indians pitchers have been willing to try some of the things that he does now. How willing were guys willing to do that when he first came up and when you were a teammate with him? Because he does do things a little bit differently on the days he doesn't pitch.
Well, it's ironic you say that because I actually picked up his program. And there was a lot of guys were afraid, you know, to do that kind of long tossing, you know, on days they thought they would pitch. But I ended up gaining about 3 or 4 miles an hour by the end of the season, and I think it was the strongest that I had ever been. So going through it and really immersing in the development and the process of it, you can certainly see why he has had the success that he's had.
I only find it funny because we've watched Danny Salazar start warming up like he does, doing the foul pole to foul pole. I saw Sean Armstrong a couple days ago, but back behind everything, he was doing some of the arm muscles, some of the muscle stuff, and some of those heavier balls that he works with. It's just been phenomenal to me throughout the season to see certain guys pick up on little things that they've picked up from watching Trevor.
Well, we know that if Salazar starts building drones, we get a whole other problem.
Out of play to the right.
Well, we talked about J.D. Martinez and how his evolution now being around Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez has turned him into a better hitter. You see on the Indian side of things with Salazar and Bauer, the odd couple, as they've been dubbed. But being in there with Kluber and, Carrasco even saying that he's learned so much.
To left field. On the run. Can't get there. Sands will cut it off. Machado stops at second. So 2 on with 1 out here in the third for Detroit.
You're always tweaking. If you get down and you're able to watch batting practice, so we'll take a look at the location here on Fox Tracks. Yep, just right over the middle of the plate. Didn't get all of that. Not as hard hit as initially thought. First and second, only 1 out. I was saying during batting practice, you're out in the outfield. You're constantly tinkering. You're listening, to other guys. And Mariano Rivera, he picked up his cutter just by playing catch in the outfield, just by mistake.
Tyler Collins, a ground out his only time up. Swings and misses.
It is fun to see this rotation really feeding off of each other, though.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's a ton of talent there, but these guys aren't resting. They're still trying to improve all the time. And when you're around those guys, that's fun. That's fun to see, and it's good, healthy competition.
That front door fastball can't quite get that inside corner today. But he's gone in there a number of times. Yeah, I remember last year Carrasco learned a lot from Kluber and trying to incorporate things from his game into his repertoire. I think it only makes sense to me if you see a pitcher having a lot of success. What are you doing? How are you doing? How do you grip that fastball? How do you grip your slider? Swung out and missed. Bauer got him to chase the breaking ball down and in.
Well, even take Bauer, for instance. He goes out to the bullpen to kind of change things up. Picks up a couple things from talking to guys out there. You mentioned Carrasco. His time in the bullpen, he's even admitted it, was a huge reason why he's made the jumps that he has. The bullpen mentality from pitch number 1. I mean, I think a lot of these starters, even Josh Tomlin, he's done all the roles. He started, relieved. It certainly helped all these guys for sure.
Upstairs with a 2-2. Whoa, that curveball took off. And so a full count.
Can't let it get away here. You know who's on deck. And find a way to get a ground ball.
The payoff pitch. And Collins fouls it back.
I wonder if he goes back to that breaking ball now. Collins fouling that one straight back. That tells you he's on it. Let's see what Roberto Perez thinks here. Just don't want to face Miggy with bases loaded and less than 2 outs.
Foul right back.
2 pitches now that Collins has had 2 pretty good cracks at. See if Bauer shakes to something here.
Just missed inside. That's been
there's been nothing there today.
That's been where he's missed on that pitch all day. And Dana DeMuth has been consistent. He hasn't called it.
Take a look at it one more time. Yep, just in. Another 2-seamer, though, right idea. Boy, he's going to need it now.
Well, the Tigers threatening big time with the bases loaded and 1 out and Miguel Cabrera at the plate. The Tigers have scored 608 runs on the year with 21 games to play. They have scored at least 723 in each of the last 11 years. Now, in order to get to that number, they'd have to average 5.4 the rest of the way, which is a full run higher than what they've averaged up to this point. So that gives you an idea of the offensive drop-off that they've dealt with this year.
And they've had injuries. You know, Mickey was out for a good amount of time.
6
No
weeks.
Cespedes for the entire season. Victor on the DL for a little bit. So the offensive continuity, Brad Ausmus has had to really shuffle that lineup.
Swung on and missed. It's 1-2.
This is the most off I've seen Miggy. He's still hitting 345, but the way the Indians have pitched him the last 4 or 5 games, this is the most in the middle and kind of off that I think we've really seen him.
Well, the Indians have pitched him tough in the last 5 games. Plus tonight, he's 2 for his last 21. J.D. Martinez waits on deck.
I think it's Uncle Charlie time here.
Lord Charles.
Mm-hmm.
In the dirt.
Good job. Good job keeping it. Now you get into a situation 2-2 where probably going for a pitch on the outer half of the strike zone. I don't think he's going to try and come in. It's a great block by Roberto Perez. Good job keeping it in. Tough pitch to handle. Probably go no sign here. Talking about how they want to go through it. If you go in here, you got to go in up. Because Miggy will just drop the hands and lace it to left field.
The 2-2. Swung on and missed. He ran it up the ladder and struck him out. Number 5 for Bauer.
Excellent execution. Take a look at the sequence here. I really like how he started things out. Elevated the fastball, came in, little hanging breaking ball, got away with one right there. Fastball away, breaking ball in the dirt, couldn't get hurt by it, and then elevate that heater again. Changing the eye level, it's been a really good combo for Trevor Bauer when he's on, being able to elevate that fastball late and throw the curveball off of it, kind of backdoored it right there, and it was a great, great job.
Starts J.D. Martinez off with a curveball, and it misses ball 1. In the air, right center field. That's going to drop for a hit. Machado scores. Here comes Davis. And the Tigers have tied the game at 2 with a 2-out, 2-run single by J.D. Martinez.
I was just about to say that who would you least like to face with the bases loaded right now? Almost think J.D. Martinez worse to face than Miguel Cabrera. Right down the middle, elevated fastball. He takes it the other way. We are knotted up.
93 runs batted in now on the year for Martinez.
Man, what a year. He's earned himself some dollars.
No doubt about it.
Got to limit the damage here.
Victor Martinez walked in the second. And we're going to get action in the Indians bullpen already.
Yep. Soto?
Appears to be, yeah.
I think so.
Downstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You'd think Soto is probably getting ready for Avila if it gets there. I don't think Terry Francona is going to want this to get out of hand. Bauer almost at 60 pitches. Right at it.
The 1-1. Victor right at Santana, and that will end the inning. But the Tigers score 2 to tie the game, middle of the third. Brought to you by Miller Lite. A little chilly down here at the ballpark today.
It is. It's going to be cold tonight.
Especially now that the sun starts to fade.
Yeah. We were begging for this about a week or two ago.
It was 63 at game time, which is what the same temperature it was at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Carlos Santana, Ryan Rayburn, and Chris Johnson for Cleveland here in the home half of the third. Fouled right back by Santana.
Boy, what a difference an inning makes. Think about going back to that first.
Yeah.
Told Randy Wolf, hey, we're going to hand you the ball in the third inning, and you're going to be tied after throwing 50 in the first.
He somehow survived.
Yeah.
Got a double play ball in the second. And now he gets ahead of Santana 1-2. Back up the middle, but behind the bag. Romine was there. One away.
Rarely do you see a shift for a right-hander with 3 guys on the left side. One right up the middle, too.
Injury report today brought to you by Elk & Elk. Injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. And Troy Tulowitzki, they tell us now, is out indefinitely with that cracked shoulder blade.
That is huge.
Feldman and Drew Storn done for the year. Storn slammed his hand into a locker, I think. Broke his thumb.
There's going to be a lot of slamming in the Washington Nationals. Man, you'd think at the beginning of the season, you get Scherzer.
Yeah.
On paper, best rotation in baseball. And they're going to end up finishing almost 10 games out against the Mets. Did not see that one coming. Speaking of pitching, would you shut Harvey down?
No.
Let him go.
I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs and the particulars, but I just think you don't know how often these opportunities are going to come along.
I
Look
agree.
at Steven Strasburg.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up getting hurt anyway.
You think about that rotation with Harvey and DeGrom and Syndergaard. Speaking of the ageless wonder, Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
You might as well just hit 4th. Well, that's a good young rotation. I mean, you look at the Indians controlled starters through 2019, I think it is. Mets will have that too.
Nobody is going to want to have to lock horns with them in the postseason.
And a short series, forget about it. Now you really have the chance for it to be the Dodgers and the Mets, and you'll have Kershaw and Harvey for Game 1, and you'll probably have DeGrom and Greinke for Game 2. I mean, is that must-see postseason baseball?
Pretty good. Well, and then Pittsburgh and Chicago are going to end up probably with the second and third best records in the National League, and they're going to be one and done. Somebody's going to be one and done.
Now, would you get rid of divisions? You know, the NBA now is going, you have the 8 best records in both conferences, and that's how they go.
Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth on that. I mean, I understand, if you're Pittsburgh and Chicago right now, you're going, wait a minute. This is
why do we have to play a one-game playoff?
Right, this isn't. So I can see that argument. I don't want to get rid of the divisions in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd like to see, ideally, if I could wave the magic wand, shorten the regular season by a week.
Okay.
And then let's add that division series, that wild card, and make it best 2 out of 3
best
if you have
2 out of 3, sure.
But I don't know if I want to get rid of the divisions necessarily, because I think I'm of the belief that, even though the Indians are in the situation they are, which is a 500 team right now on September the 13th, they're still very much alive in this thing.
Yep.
And if you change it to the other way, then they probably wouldn't even have a chance.
Correct.
Fly ball, deep center. Back is Davis, still going back. And he makes the catch, 2 strides in front of the wall for out number 2. Our great clip of the game. Earlier today, Chris Johnson. A big game for the Tribe. Batting in the 8th spot, had an RBI single to right in the 5th, RBI single to right in the 6th, and had a base hit the other way in the 8th inning that helped lead to another run for the Indians.
All critical junctures, too.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that, as we talked about in Game 1, where does he fit next year? What does Tito think is the best move as far as getting him some consistent at-bats? It's a big reason why in Atlanta he had the struggles that he did. Obviously, injuries did play a part in that, too. But you got a guy 2 years removed from challenging for the National League batting title. I mean, what a pickup this would be going into next season if he's able to put it all together again.
Missed outside.
Big physical guy, strong.
Well, that's where the Indians have sort of, it's almost been like a bonus this year. They've played better baseball. They've put themselves in contention, but they're also getting a good long look at a lot of players that they have to make decisions on as far as going forward. You know, who fits where as you look ahead. What moves need to be made in the offseason? Johnson cuts and misses. And guys like Chris Johnson, Jerry Sands, Michael Martinez getting opportunities. I think Urshela and Lindor have pretty much made their case.
Almonte, too, in a very short time.
Yes. Lonnie Chisenhall certainly changes the dynamic of where he fits next year. Is he a platoon right fielder? Is he an everyday right fielder?
Yeah, Ryan Rayburn will be a free agent. The auditions so far, though, for these young kids have been pretty darn good.
Pulls it foul. And, I get the old adage that you don't get fooled by what you see in March and September. That's why I say it's been important that these guys are playing meaningful games. Now, if this club was, let's say where Atlanta is, which they're 56 and 87, if you're buried, you're out of it, and there's nothing to play for, then I think it's a little harder to evaluate maybe. But these guys know that there's still a lot at stake.
Well, you sweep a doubleheader today, you're 3.5 out.
Right on. He walked him. That'll keep the inning alive. And bring up Jerry Sands.
And the two things the Indians had to do to put themselves in contention, you had to leapfrog, 6 or 7 teams. And the majority of those teams you weren't playing head-to-head down the stretch, so you didn't even control your own destiny there. So they've taken care of probably the hardest part of that. Now you're going to have Minnesota for 7 games before the end of the season. Texas is going to have to play in their division against Los Angeles and Houston. So, yeah, very much alive. And now, you and I talked about it, how Tito is just, whatever the magic is, whatever he's doing inside the clubhouse, it gets these guys to believe. He's done it the past 2 years. Remember, they run off 10 to get into the wild card.
To finish 20. Was it 20-5?
Something like that. An incredible run. And then last year, you're in it right into the last weekend.
Well, and don't look now, but they've won 12 out of 15.
Right.
So, I mean, they're on that run.
Absolutely.
It's just that they've kind of done it quietly, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. Sneak up on some people. Great read by CJ.
Johnson down to second base on the ball in the dirt.
That's a play that won't show up in the box score, but if Sands drives him in here, that's a great read. That's a big, big boost. Watch it again. Great job seizing the dirt, reacts right away. Excellent base running.
Jensen, the players, as you know, are focused on today, this game right now, this second game of this doubleheader. The rest of us can speculate all we want.
Mm-hmm.
And to that end, if they can figure out a way to win this game today, then the next 4 nights is going to be really interesting because Kansas City comes in here.
And they're trying to clinch.
And they're a bear. I mean, they're 84 and 57 going into today. I didn't see what they did earlier. Or are they playing a late game?
I think they're playing late. Yeah, they're playing tonight.
But they have the best record in the American League. So it's not like the Indians can just say, well, we'll win 3 out of 4 from Kansas City. That's going to be a tough task.
Absolutely. And you're running out of games now, too.
Right. What they cannot afford is to have the Royals come in here and beat them up.
Yep.
Sweep them, take 3 out of 4. That would be a killer and be very tough to overcome.
Now you talk about the Mets and having to face that rotation in short series. Imagine this. There's no playoff team that wants to see Kluber, Carrasco, Salazar. No way.
Jeff Jones takes a slow walk to the mound. Bullpen just now starting to get loose. And I don't think this is the same guy that they had up before. This
looks like Verhagen.
Yeah, it looks like a right-hander. It is. Drew Verhagen. Wolf's at 88 pitches. I mean, tip your cap to him. He was at 50 after the first inning. So he's hung around. But after back-to-back walks, It's Giovanni Urshela, who walked and drove in a run in the first.
Look at that, 50 in the first. Ugh,
crazy.
Never seen it.
Pops him up on the first pitch. And Victor can't get to it.
Yeah, going back to your points about Kansas City, you can probably afford a split, but you can't lose that series. Almost, we're in that must-win territory now, where if you're going to make up games against teams in front of you that you don't play. But what an atmosphere it'll be. Kansas City trying to clinch. This would be their first American League Central title?
I believe so.
Think so?
Hit hard, but foul right side.
I mean, the feel of this team reminds me of 07, my rookie year. We were leading the division. We had a chance to put away Detroit in September, swept them. But there was that point in the second half of the season where, we had a pretty firm team meeting together in Texas. And, guys like Casey Blake and Jake Westbrook, got up and said, hey, we got a real chance to be something special. And, we had Trot Nixon, DeLucci, Jason Michaels, a lot of veteran guys that had been around that knew it, and we all bought into it. Down the stretch, we were able to really put it together with this team now with some of the young leaders. Kip, been to the playoffs. Brantley's been to the playoffs. Kluber, all these guys now, they've gotten a taste of it, and I think they realize the moment, too, that they're going to have an opportunity to have something special here as well.
The question, I think, for this club, this particular edition of the Cleveland Indians, is are they fully loaded or are they about 3 bricks shy of a load?
You're right. You're right. It's almost like don't pick your head up. Just stay down and keep running.
Right. Urshela unloads to right center, but Martinez runs it down. Thought he hit it harder than that. That ball hung up in the air. So we're still tied 2-2 after 3. Nick Castellanos, Alex Avila, and Dixon Machado due up for Detroit. Trevor Bauer gave up 2 runs on 3 hits in the 3rd inning. Left Tigers at 1st and 3rd to end it. Now goes to work here. First ball swinging. Castellanos pops it up. And Aviles didn't get there. Looked like Santana and Aviles were both going after it. I heard somebody screaming for it. I assumed it was Aviles, but he just never really got to it.
It looked like Santana kind of slowed down, too, anticipating it, probably from hearing Aviles call him off. Take another look at it. He's tracking. Yeah, I think he heard him right there. Just slow down.
And, from that angle, it appears that it's an easier play for Santana.
And that thing just kept carrying, too, in a no man's land. Would have been a nice gift first pitch out for Bauer.
And a strike called.
He's got 63 pitches. He's not had, some smooth sailing here early. Saw the bullpen get up last inning. Be nice if he could get a double play right here.
Breaking ball in there for a strike.
Now you got a pretty big shift now on Avila. That's a long way for Urshela to come over to try and turn a double play, too.
Pulls it foul.
Omar just doing Omar things.
Yeah, he went to the gloves because it's a little chilly. Not because he needed him to catch the ball. Looks like he's got a couple layers of sweatshirts on under there.
Never forget Rafael Perez in Chicago, always next to the space heater in the bullpen.
Down low.
And you remember Rafi, he's all sticks and bones, man. There's not a lot of meat on that. But he had every piece of clothing and heat gear that team was issued.
That was a guy who couldn't throw a ball straight if he wanted to.
My first day up, got called up. Everybody was laughing. They're like, "Oh, you get to play catch with Rafi."
Off the plate, this is going to be trouble. Urshela, bare hand grab and throw. Got him. No, they call him safe. Oh, I thought he had him. Terrific effort by Urshela. Terry comes up out of the dugout. We'll take another look. Boy, that was a terrific effort.
I thought he got him by a half step. It's a tough ball to field anyway because Urshela's in that shift coming over. He might have beaten it.
Yeah, looked like he did.
Wow, that's
just
close.
Barely. He just barely got the foot on the bag.
Give Urshela a lot of credit, though. That's a long way to come in and barehanded. Tough play.
Tough break for Bauer. So 2 on, nobody out. And Dixon Machado, the batter. Showing bunt. A lot of movement, a lot of action, but at the end, nothing happened.
In our sabermetrics world we live in now, the old sacrifice bunt gets meddled with and run expectancy. I'm still an old school believer. Get them over. Give your guys a high percentage chance to score.
No bunt here, fouled out of play. I think a lot of it, for me, depends on who you're sacrificing for.
Right.
I think when you're Francisco Lindor and you're in front of Michael Brantley all day, and you can, especially, early in the game, you want to grab the lead. If you can get Michael Brantley an RBI opportunity, by all means. If you're the 8 hitter and you got the number 9 guy behind you, there's a reason you're at the bottom of that order. I don't know that that's the best case scenario for a sacrifice.
I'd agree.
Of course, we lived through the Robbie Alomar era where He's the only 3-hole hitter I think I ever saw that sacrificed.
Sure.
But he had Juan Gonzalez behind him for at least one of those years. And, okay. I think he had Juan behind him.
Yep. Did he have Manny behind him one year?
No, I think Manny left, and that's how they got Juan Gonzalez.
Okay.
So it was 0-1, yeah. Hammered. Right center, and nobody gets it. Martinez tracks it down on the warning track, but Castellanos will come all the way around and score. And into third base is Avila. It's an RBI double for Dixon Machado, and the Tigers take a 3-2 lead.
I think there might have been some miscommunication out there. You look at Martinez and Rayburn going after this ball. First off, location up and out over the plate at 95. But it looked to me like Martinez was going, then he slowed down, then he sped back up again. Either way, Tigers take the lead.
Yeah, tweener, one of those balls that's in between the outfielders. But it was hit hard. Ball was up in the strike zone, and that's what enabled Machado to get to it, even though it was at 95. Indians bring the infield in. Nobody out. 3 straight hits to open the frame. And the bullpen springs into action for Cleveland. Back out of play.
Looks like Ryan Webb getting loose. Now, if you're Bauer here, again, you have a base open. I know it's the 9-hitter, but with Davis on deck, still gives you a chance to keep a double play in order so you don't have to give in this at-bat necessarily.
Did he go? No, says third base umpire Toby Bassner.
Well, that bat has got some battle wounds on there.
Yeah, it does. Three balls and a strike to the number 9 hitter, Andrew Romine.
I don't mind the sequence here. I don't. Even if you walk him here, still not a bad situation to be in. You have the double play in order.
Well, he does walk him. And the bases are loaded. Rajai Davis has only grounded into 5 double plays on the year. He's got great speed. Mickey Callaway's going to come out, and he'll talk it over. We'll step aside and let Al Pulaski fill us in on what's going on. Here's a Mazda game break.
Hey, Matt Jensen, you think this inning's tough for Trevor Bauer. How about this one for Houston Street in Anaheim? 2 outs, nobody out in the 9th. Angels up 3-0. Astros score 5. Jed Lowry a 3-run homer. It's now 5-3 Houston in the 9th, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Al. Wow, what a turn of events. You go from a game that looks like it's in your back pocket to, ouch. That'll leave a mark.
Again, the Angels, another team. The Indians have to leapfrog. Oh, man, Houston Street, been one of the more reliable guys in the past couple years. He has had to deal with some injuries, but as far as shutting games down, I remember facing him when he was at Texas in 04 Super Regionals. Big champ, one more year. He was the king down there.
Davis right back up the middle, and it's through. Alex Avila will score. Machado on his heels, scores 2. A 2-run single for Rajai Davis. A 3-run 4th inning for Detroit. And their lead is now 5-2 over the Tribe.
Davis taking advantage. Another mislocation for Trevor Bauer. A little deep by Roberto Perez there. Almost got Machado at the end, but looks like that'll be all for Trevor Bauer.
Terry Francona will make his way to the center of the diamond. And he is going to make the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen for Ryan Webb. So Trevor Bauer goes just 3 innings plus 5 batters. Did not get an out here in the 4th. And the Indians are now down 5-2.
Here for the final push. The Indians will host division rival Kansas City and Chicago starting tomorrow as they target a postseason opportunity. Visit Indians.com for tickets. We'll see you here.
Ryan Webb coming into the fray with 2 on and nobody out. 35th appearance of the year for Webb. He's done a nice job. It's going to be Tyler Collins, then Miguel Cabrera. Kind of a weird game for Bauer. It started out really well, and then it disintegrated quickly.
Yeah, and think on the other side, Randy Wolf has a 50-pitch inning, and now he's got at least a 5-2 lead. Turned in a hurry for Trevor Bauer. Only 47 strikes out of 77 pitches.
So Collins stands in. He grounded out on the first, walked in the third. Webb delivers down away, ball 1.
Yeah, Webb, his story too this year, been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Guy that Tito has relied on in some big late inning situations. He's thrown well.
Missed outside, 2-0.
Big guy, real good sinker. I believe did the Dodgers cut him beginning of the season?
I don't remember what the exact scenario was. he was outrighted by the Dodgers. So they got him from Baltimore.
Right.
And then 4 days later, they just said,
we're done with you.
Yeah.
He's making some decent money, too, I think.
There's a strike called over the outside edge.
So I want to say that the Dodgers were responsible for some of his contract. But, yeah, you're right. Another guy. I mean, you look at him, look at Manship. Two veteran guys have pitched some big innings for the Tribe out of the pen.
Right back up the gut into center field. Romine coming around third. It gets held there. And the bases are loaded again for Detroit.
Still nobody out. This one catches a lot more of the plate. Collins still got to go down and get it, but shoots that one right up. Thankfully hit very hard so that Romine couldn't come around and score.
Miguel Cabrera will bat for the second inning in a row with the bases loaded. This time with nobody out.
Still think I would not want to face J.D. Martinez the way he's going with the bases loaded right now. That's saying something. And you'd rather face Miggy.
In the air, right field near the line. Rayburn over. No, can't get to it. That'll find its way into the seats.
Gotta find a way to keep this ball in the infield somehow.
Check, but did he go? No, he did not.
Good hold. It was a good hold on Miggy's part. It's a tough pitch to lay off, too, because it's not diving until the last possible moment.
He's one of the first guys I've ever seen it. I'll check.
Yeah.
I'll check with the umpire.
Miggy's world.
6 Tigers have come to the plate. Not one has been retired yet here in the 4th inning. Swung on and missed. And the count is 1-2.
I'd go right back to it.
Giovanni Soto and now Gavin Floyd up in the Cleveland bullpen. He did go back to it, but no chasing. 2-2.
Now you have him set up. Couple pitches outside. Now you got to come back in. Make sure it's elevated to how Trevor Bauer put that fastball up by him. Don't want to let him get his hands extended.
Now the 2-2. Hits it on the ground right at the shortstop Lindor. To Aviles for one on to first. Another double play.
There you go.
Tigers will get a run and lead it 6-2, but that's a big double play for Ryan Webb.
Well executed pitch, too. Good sequence through. And that entire at bat to Miggy. Got that double play ball, just what you needed.
The 8th man to bat in the inning is J.D. Martinez. Drove in 2 in the 3rd inning with a 2-out single. High fly ball. Slicing over in the corner. Rayburn. He caught it. No. Now they're going to say it hit the sidewall. He caught it on a deflection. First base umpire Mike Estabrook made the call. He said the ball hit the sidewall first.
Now we were cut off here. It looked like.
See if we've got a good look at it here.
That's a catch.
Oh,
that is a catch.
Yep.
Absolutely. What an effort.
Great effort by Ryan Rayburn. The glove contacted the wall, but the ball never touched the wall.
Right.
The ball was in the glove.
Like there was a buffer
the wall.
in between. And this would end the inning. The concentration it takes to go all the way over there, because that's still traveling towards foul territory, and then to be able to time it just right. Great effort. Look at Robbie Ray. He's saying, come on, man. He's made some unbelievable defensive plays this year. Rayburn has. Doesn't get enough credit for his defense. Take a look at it again one more time here, Matty. See it go right out of the glove. Is against the wall. Yeah, that's a catch.
Ball's in the glove.
Now, I'll bet real time looking at it, and I'm sure that's what the first base umpire saw.
He might have thought he saw Rayburn trap it with his bare hand against the wall, but didn't realize it was in the glove.
All right.
You know, before the other night, the Indians had issued the fewest challenges in the American League.
Really?
They, if this sheet I have is correct, through games of September the 11th, the Indians had challenged just 25, which is one more than the Tigers and the Washington Nationals. But the day before, remember, they had 2.
Yes.
And they got them. They won them both. So Terry has been successful 44% of the time on his challenges. Brad Ausmus, he's 9 for 24. He's been good 37.5% of the time. Yankees have done the best in terms of percentage success rate, 72%. 18 out of 25 they've been able to get overturned. Guess who's challenged the most in all of baseball?
Ooh. Is it obvious?
Not really.
Okay, who you got?
Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, Cashy, huh?
48 challenges this year.
Wow.
Only 13 have been overturned for a success rate of 27%.
Uh-oh. Come on, Cashy. You know, from the angles that we saw, this has taken a long time.
Overall this year, Jensen, again, this is through September the 11th, or September the 10th, I think. 51% of manager challenges have been overturned.
Okay.
So roughly 1 out of every 2 they get right. And a lot of that credit goes to the guy in the video replay room. Greg Langben does this for Cleveland. I'm sure he called out. He saw it and said, hey, the ball's in the glove. He didn't trap it. Challenge it.
Yeah. In the angles that we see, it's pretty definitive. There we go.
The Indians win again on a challenge. So credit Ryan Rayburn with a terrific catch down that right field line to end the inning. But the Tigers erupt for 4 in the 4th to take a 6-2 lead. An upcoming telecast. It's all courtesy of T-Mobile. Tigers go to their bullpen. And Drew Verhagen will be on here in the 4th inning. Randy Wolf went just 3 innings.
Surprised he went that long after that first inning.
Yeah, but he only allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. Walked 4, struck out 3.
Verhagen is big kid, strong, good stuff. Power fastball, going to be probably in that 92, 93 area. Pride of Vanderbilt University. Good to see another Commodore in the big leagues.
Roberto Perez will lead it off. Then it's Michael Martinez and Francisco Lindor. Ball 1 down in the dirt. Verhagen has been very good of late. Has not allowed a run in his last 9 outings.
He had made a spot start against the Indians last year in a doubleheader.
That was his Major League debut on July 19th.
Yeah, he's certainly put it together last couple of weeks. Again, another guy that, auditioning for a bullpen role. You talk about a team that can take all callers. Tigers bullpen for next year.
Out of play to the right. Perez was down on strikes to end the first inning with the bases loaded. And this time he draws a walk to start the 4th.
Leadoff walk, and this is an inning, too, where you would hope the Indians can put some response runs up there. You don't need all 4 back, but try and cut that lead in half. Good start to the inning by Roberto.
And now Michael Martinez, strikeout victim, his first time up.
I hadn't seen a lot of Martinez until this year, and obviously a versatile guy, can play a lot of spots.
Fouls the first pitch out of play.
And that's a great part about September. You get a look at, some of these guys that, may not have been in big league camp. They have come up, a little bit. Now get a chance, and especially when you're playing in a pennant chase. As you said, you can learn a lot about where their abilities lie and
what they're made of.
Exactly. Yeah, that Kansas City series, I think you hit it. Those are playoff games. If you're the Indians, that's how you got to approach that.
Oh, nice curveball. Drops it in for a strike. And Martinez falls behind on the count 1-2.
Be good to get Klubs back too.
Huge.
Think about how the Indians have had to weather that storm a little bit. You lose him, Carlos Carrasco too, some DL time.
Smashed into a double play. That'll take us to the top of the order, and Francisco Lindor.
KeyBank Kids tickets start at just $15 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. Kids tickets are located in the family deck here at Progressive Field. Log on to Indians.com/kids ticket today.
Lindor looks at ball one as that one goes to the backstop.
Avila's had some trouble today. Crossed up with Randy Wolf. Had to jump up and get one. Verhagen airmails one.
Chops one towards second. Romine hurries it over, and the inning comes to an end. 4 complete. Tigers 6, Indians 2. In Ohio, Honda dealers. By the Cleveland Clinic. Call for an appointment today. And by the game-changing all-new Ford F-150. The future is tough. (6-2) Detroit. And we roll on to the 5th inning, where Victor Martinez will lead it off. Then it's Nick Castellanos and Alex Avila. Victor walked in the 2nd inning, grounded out in the 3rd. Out of play. Final meeting of the year between these two, unless they figure out a way to make up the game that was rained out that we were unable to make up.
Do we know what the initial thought process? Would that be a once the season's over?
There hasn't been anything official. I mean, I think there's a lot of speculation. Is it a game potentially that will be made up on Monday after the season's over? Is it potentially one of those deals like where we had years ago where you had 2 teams come in and play here the same day?
I remember that.
Line to left, that's a base hit. I think the idea in the spirit of the thing is you want everybody to make every effort to play all 162. But if extenuating circumstances arise and you can't, well, then I think you kind of have to use common sense as well.
This certainly was Bud Selig's big thing. And when he was commissioner, the integrity of the game, play them all. So now Rob Manfred, right out of the chute, be interesting to see if that game doesn't mean anything at the end of the year.
Right.
Do they indeed finish it out?
Nick Castellanos singled and scored in the fourth. Missed off the plate.
It's going to be weird to see Detroit near the bottom of the standings, considering what they have been past 4 or 5 years. And that man right there, he's had to deal with a lot. You have to give Ausmus at least the benefit of the doubt on that. It has not been a season that has gone scripted. Knew it was going to be a difficult division, possibly the toughest in baseball at the beginning of the season. But the way Kansas City just ran away from everybody. And I think they felt slighted at the beginning of the season. Not a lot of people.
Kansas City?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they played like it, too.
Not a lot of people giving them credit for getting the World Series and just kind of saying it got hot at the right time. Man, you have a bullpen like that. They found their middle of the order with Kane and Hosmer. Morales comes over. He's been a huge addition to that lineup. Rios has had to battle some injuries. And this is a team that lost James Shields.
Yeah.
And they're going to win 90, 95 ball games.
They have come of age at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Now the 3-0. Bullseye.
And you talk about the Indians, guys that have come of age. Carlos Carrasco, Danny Salazar. You think about where Salazar was in spring training.
Yeah. Not even on the club.
And the strides that he made. You know, kind of got lucky there in April with the Indians needing, pitching.
Bounces it foul. Full count.
I think weathering the storm, too. The one guy probably on this roster that you couldn't lose, and you lost him early in the season with Yan Gomes. I think you see now what he means to this pitching staff and how they're different with him back there. And that's not taking anything away from Roberto Perez, because Roberto Perez has done an unbelievable job filling in. Could be starting catcher on a lot of other teams.
Out of play. Victor was running on the pitch. Figuring he's going to put it in play, start the runner. Well, Perez has done a very nice job behind the plate defensively, working with the pitchers. But, they didn't make Yan Gomes a sort of a core player for no reason at all. I mean, they really believe strongly in his leadership and his ability going forward. 3-2 pitch. Martinez draws a throw this time.
Yeah, we were lucky in the years I was here. Obviously, we had Victor. We had Kelly Shopik, who really made a lot of strides.
Yeah.
I think being able to sit behind Vic and see how he handled his staff. Always enjoyed throwing to Sal Fasano. Man, he would make the strike zone just perfect for you. Thrown to a big pillow.
Swung on and miss. He strikes him out. One down here in the fifth. It's the first Sal Fasano reference of the year. I think he's still managing Double-A somewhere.
I think he is.
Yeah. Terry Francona is going to make a move for the bullpen. So we've got a timeout here in the fifth with a 1 on and 1 out. And we'll be right back. Got the Indians rolling in the first with an RBI single to center field. They would lead it 2-0 after an inning, but the Tigers would roar back. J.D. Martinez tied it with a 2-run single with 2 outs in the third. And then Rajai Davis broke Trevor Bauer's back with a 2-run single in the fourth. That chased him from the game as the Tigers would build a 6-2 lead.
Giovanni Soto, the new Indians pitcher, appeared in 2 games thus far. What was the other night? He was first guy to have a 1-pitch, 1-out major league debut.
Was he?
Well, not the first, but he was the first in a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, Terry said he thought he looked tired, so he took him out after that 1 pitch. Uh-oh. Speaking of first pitch, that ball is going off the wall. Rayburn plays it well, holds him to a long single, and Victor Martinez will stop at third.
Well, that was crushed.
I think Ryan realized he had no chance to get back to it, so he was hoping he could play the carom well.
Location right here, right down the middle. Man, that had a vapor trail on it. But you're right. I think Rayburn knew. He was just waiting to see if it was going to be there.
1 pitch, and Soto's day is over. This guy works fast, doesn't he?
Guess so.
Timeout in Cleveland, 1st and 3rd with 1 out here in the 5th. And Terry's going back to the bullpen.
$13 district tickets presented by Sports Time Ohio are going quickly, so get yours today. Tickets available only at Indians.com/district ticket.
Austin Adams coming on for Cleveland now. He'll be facing Dixon Machado with 2 on and 1 out here in the 5th.
Got some good country intro music. I was going to ask Dre if what kind of intro music he would have. We asked him that?
No. That would be, I think that'd be tough to pick just one, wouldn't it?
Be interesting.
Fastball swung on and missed by Dixon Machado.
Austin Adams, man, he's an intriguing guy for next year. When you think about how this Indians bullpen is set up, the back end, he's somebody that could put it together. He's got lightning stuff.
Yeah.
You got 97, 98 back of the bullpen. Feels like everybody out there is throwing 95 plus.
You don't really have a job if you don't anymore, do you?
That's why I'm up here with you.
Right at the second baseman, Aviles. To Lindor for one. He tried to turn two, but the Tigers pick up another run. Not sure if Mike had his footwork crossed up a little bit on this play.
I think he just
lost.
slipped.
Yeah, he just lost his footing. They get the runner at second base. As you take a look.
Yeah, it just looks like he loses his footing. Frankie still almost turns it. But yeah, Austin Adams, and think about with Cody Allen and Shaw, obviously your mainstays. McAllister successfully making the transition. You got four guys with some wipeout stuff at the back end. Kyle Crockett now, the lone lefty with Zepp gone, and Soto getting a chance up here. That's probably something, and we see this all the time. You'll have some free agent guys.
Coming out to check on Machado for some reason. I don't know if he did something trying to leg it out. He's pointing back like as though he felt something maybe a few strides before he got to the base, and that's going to be it for him.
He's coming out.
So Machado, the shortstop, will exit the game. Let's see.
Maybe the way he went into the bag, kind of lunged out there, might be a hamstring. Yeah, he's feeling it right there.
Josh Wilson is going to come in.
He looks thrilled to be in this game. Like, thanks a lot, Machado.
A little playing time for Josh Wilson. Meanwhile, Andrew Romine with an 0-1 count. Smashes one to Lindor. He'll go the long way and end the inning. Tigers add another run, middle of the fifth. They're cruising 7-2. AT&T Universe Rewind right now. Back in that first inning. It was a lengthy first inning for Randy Wolf. He made 50 pitches. The Indians had a couple of hits. Looked like they were going to get off and running. They scored 2 runs. But it was all said and done. That was it. They just got the 2, left them loaded when Roberto Perez struck out to end the inning. And they haven't really threatened since.
Well, Trevor Bauer, we talked about it at the beginning of this contest, really made great adjustments against Chicago. But today, the wheels fell off really quick. I mean, if you were to take a look at both of those lines after the second inning, you would think the Indians were probably going to be, at a pretty good spot.
Chop towards third. Castellanos will throw him out. 1 away. Defensively now for Detroit, Andrew Romine went from second base over to shortstop. And Wilson, who came on to run for Machado, is now at second. And now when they go to their 3-man shift on the right side, they take the third baseman Castellanos and flip him all the way over between the first and second baseman.
Got to believe the range of Romine, probably the reason they leave him on the left side.
Down in the dirt. Swung on and missed.
This is still a guy in Santana that a lot of people, beginning of this season, Indians don't have a true number 4 hitter. Well, what he's done down the stretch here, I mean, obviously the average, sticks out at being low. Will probably be his lowest home run output of his career. But as far as driving in runs, people say, okay, well, we got to go get a number 4 hitter. Well, teams that have them, you don't trade them.
Yeah,
and they're just not available. And you would think that probably one of the young starting pitchers would have to be in the conversation if you're going to go acquire one of those middle of the order bats too. And I'd venture to guess that Chris Antonetti doesn't want to really mix all of that up and keep a good thing going.
Well, like you said, it's tough to go out and find a cleanup hitter. If one's available, he's a guy like that's going to cost you way more than you're going to want to,
no question,
allocate expenses for, funds for. Every once in a while you get lucky like Detroit did, and a J.D. Martinez falls into your lap. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that you can get by without maybe a pure cleanup hitter, but I think they still could use one more middle of the order type bat. Whether that's, I believe in the idea that a good hitter lengthens your lineup wherever he hits in the lineup.
Right.
And so I think that it's a lineup that definitely could use, another really good bat. Whether it's just a solid RBI guy, doesn't necessarily have to be a masher, but that's one thing that this lineup definitely could use, is somebody who gives you a legitimate home run threat every time he comes to the plate. And I thought Brandon Moss was going to be that guy, and it didn't work out.
Right. You look at the team that I think of with Kansas City. I mean, is Hosmer your prototypical number 4 hitter? I don't think so. But he's another good RBI guy. Kane really burst on the scene. I think Morales has been such the difference maker for them. And he's not a prolific 35, 40 home run guy. He's going to hit you 20. I think the average, for him helps. I mean, there's so many years when he was playing with the Angels. He had some big nights against the Indians. But I think there is a bat out there that could be affordable. for the Indians. I know a lot of people are going to jump on, the Cespedes, the Justin Upton, possibilities, but I just think from the price range standpoint, you think about.
Bounce to first, Martinez. Victor can't get it out of his glove. He'll take the out at first, and pinch hitter Lonnie Chisenhall is retired for the second out in the inning.
Think about how much he's going to cost. How much has Cespedes' value gone up now, what he's done in New York? My goodness.
And being that it's New York, might they just.
Here it is. Here's the money.
Yeah.
Upton's probably going to get, 17, 18 million a year somewhere. And obviously, we saw with Swish and Bourne, when big contracts are signed, there's a lot of expectations. Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
A little bit low. Chris Johnson struck out on the first. He walked in the third.
You wonder if this guy is somebody that can lengthen your order next year. Get a fresh start, a little change of scenery.
Yeah.
And you look up and down the Central, your prolific power hitters. Jose Abreu, obviously, in Chicago. In Minnesota now with Sano as a rookie. Detroit, obviously, with Miggy.
Throw it by him, and it's 2-1.
And Detroit acquired Miggy from Florida. And you look at Sano, it's a draft pick for the Twins that came up through this system, so he's a homegrown guy. Abreu is a free agent. Big money.
Oh my. He was just almost in protect mode, and the ball bared in on him and shattered the bat, and that'll end the inning. 5 complete. It's 7-2 Detroit. Kia. Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more. By Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture and freestanding locations. And by AT&T Uverse, has more channels on the go than cable. All right, we go now to the 6th inning. Lonnie Chisenhall takes over in right field. Top of the order for Detroit, Rajai Davis to lead off. And Austin Adams with a breaking ball outside, 1-0. That's hit pretty well. Right field on the run, Lonnie Chisenhall. Oh, what a catch! What an amazing play by Chisenhall in deep right field. An all-out diving effort onto the warning track, and he just stole a double, maybe a triple away from Rajai Davis.
The distance he had to go, full tilt.
He is a novice no more.
My goodness. Full extension. That's got to be the one.
Wow.
Fox Sports Live. You got it right there. Incredible catch. See, you're starting right fielder next year?
Keeps making plays like that. They'll find a spot for him in the outfield. I'll tell you what, that was outstanding.
Wow. I mean, there's no words on that one.
You go airborne for a ball.
Like that, I mean, just going back right at the track, too.
Face first into the cinders.
Whew. Man. Browns could use him catching passes.
You got 2 feet in bounds. Fouled back.
That is a catch. The Chiz Kid making a bid. It's a guy you root for. And beloved by his teammates. Puts in the effort day in and day out. Fun guy to be around. It's great to see that work paying off.
Out of play.
Still getting over that Chris Johnson at bat. That thing was coming at his face.
Bearing in on him. He just turns almost to get out of the way, and the bat shatters. Loses a bat and an at bat.
Yeah.
Up high, 2-2. Down and in. Full count.
Consistency has been the one thing that Austin Adams just really needs to kind of finish himself off. The stuff is there. His fastball, man, he got 98 at the knees. Pretty lights out.
Out of play.
We have had more foul balls in this game with 2 strikes. Unbelievable. $25 foul balls with 2 strikes. Both teams.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat for Tyler Collins. And it's ball 4. Be sure to catch Fox Sports Live on Fox Sports 1 for a complete wrap-up of everything that happened in Major League Baseball, the NFL, and the world of sports. Fox Sports Live is tonight on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go, and you just might see that catch by Lonnie Chisenhall again.
I'm pretty sure that's going to make a bid for the one. All depends on what happened in the NFL today. I don't know if there's any receivers making catches like that today.
First Sunday of the NFL season. Browns defeated in New York by the Jets.
31-10. Johnny Manziel, first career passing touchdown today. Three turnovers from Johnny Football? Yeah. Growing pains. McCown with a concussion.
Miguel Cabrera cuts and misses. It's 1-1.
It's going to be a therapy Monday tomorrow.
Well, the Indians beat the Tigers earlier today by a score of 7-2, but now it's Detroit that's turned the tables on them here in the nightcap. Blew it right by him. Now look at that at 96.
And it's just bearing down. He's got really good angle today. Look at this. Right in the kitchen. Mm-hmm.
Back to the screen. 1-2.
Got more action in the bullpen.
Yeah. Can't tell who's up right now, but 20 pitches for Adams. And Cabrera just tried to punch one to center. Michael Martinez makes the catch. 2 away.
He's a nice little outfielder. The more you watch him, looks very comfortable, makes some good reads.
J.D. Martinez is 1 out of 3. He had a 2-run single with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Big hit at the time because that tied the game. And it gave Detroit some life. They were able to come back, and be curious to hear either Trevor or Mickey Callaway's thoughts after the game. He was pitching well. And then in that 4th inning, I don't know what happened. I mean, hey, there's some bad breaks there. Alex Avila hits one off the plate.
Right.
But he couldn't get anybody out. And the next thing you know, they score 4, and they've taken control of the game. Out of play.
Well, I'll give Randy Wolf, some credit, too, for really weathering the storm in the 1st inning. That could have been a 4 or 5 run inning if the Indians are able to cash in. See Gavin Floyd getting loose. Those 3 singles to start the 3rd, against Trevor were kind of was a slippery slope after that.
Well, Tom Bochenek says that entering today, Bauer had an ERA of over 10 in the 4th inning. So it's
So we had Verlander.
Verlander was the 5th inning.
In the 5th, and Bauer in the 4th.
So
weird. Can't explain it.
Yeah. Hit hard to 3rd, and it ate up Urshela. Down the left field line it goes all the way to the wall. Scoring all the way from first base is Collins. And stopping at second is J.D. Martinez with a 2-out RBI double. You expect Urshela to make every play because he's been so good. But that ball was really scorched.
That's a tough hop, I think, too. Look at where this goes. Just boom. That's tough. That's right at your face. You're right. I mean, he's been.
And that ball went all the way to the wall, too. It didn't die in the outfield grass.
And he's a guy, too, that not afraid to stick his nose in there. Just unfortunate. Bad hop. How much fun is it going to be watching Urshela and Lindor on the left side for years to come? Best friends. You can see the chemistry between those two. And I like, kind of where you talk about in basketball, floor spacing. They just seems like they know where each other is on the infield, and they've eaten up a ton of ground balls that have saved some runs.
To left field, Jerry Sands makes the catch to end the inning. The inning started with a fantastic play by Lonnie Chisenhall in deep right field, but the Tigers add another run and lead it 8-2. Follow Indians Live, and he'll pontificate on what happened with the Browns, what's going on with the Tribe.
Pontificate. Oh,
right
boy.
Up until 11 p.m.
If he heard you say that. Oh, my. I'll have to check in with the big fella, see if he watched.
Neftali Feliz.
Pontificate.
New pitcher for Detroit.
That's a gem.
I didn't make that up. Somebody wrote that for me.
I'm going to cite the source when I use that one.
Jerry Sands, Giovanni Urshela, and Roberto Perez due up for Cleveland.
By the way, on that Lonnie Chisenhall catch, according to StatCast, ran 74 feet, top speed of 18.8 miles an hour.
That's getting after it.
Wow.
Well, it was a great angle to the ball, too.
Sure was. They give it a 97% on route efficiency.
They almost had to be to make that catch.
Yes.
Jerry Sands has walked twice. You know, back in the first inning, he walked after a 12-pitch at bat. And you thought that might be a real key point in the game, even though it was only the first inning.
Right.
The Indians would draw a bases-loaded walk from Gio Urshela next. But that was it, 2 runs, and they have not scored since. Randy Wolf, the starter, had to make 50 pitches in the first inning.
Man.
But he survived, and Detroit's offense has come back and scored 8 unanswered.
Well, they've had multi-hit efforts from Rajah Davis, J.D. Martinez, Alex Avila, Dixon Machado before he exited. You know, talk about how the mighty have fallen. How about this kid, Feliz? At one point, it was just unhittable in Texas, and boy, he is back to earth. He's always had the velocity, but just feel like the stuff has flattened out.
Good breaking ball, and that takes care of Jerry Sands, 1 away. Yeah, Feliz was designated for assignment by the Rangers on July the 3rd. But you're right. You know, you go back early in his career with Texas, and it looked like, oh, man, they've got themselves a dynamite pitcher. Mm-hmm. Whether it was going to be out of the bullpen or as a starter.
Yep.
And you wonder sometimes that isn't the undoing of certain guys. That they're so good that they say, you know what, let's make him a starter.
Jabba Chamberlain in 07.
Mm-hmm.
You think that would have been being there front and center, as that was as dominant a setup guy as there was that season. And they moved him back to start, and especially mentally, I ended up making the transition from starting to relieving in spring training in 07. That helped me, because turning a lineup over the 3rd time, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get through it. But there's a difference in mentality. There's a difference in preparation.
And it seems like it's, I don't want to say easier, but the transition may not be as difficult once you have the base of being a starter, go to the bullpen,
right,
as opposed to, I'm a reliever, now I'm going to transition to being a starter.
Right. It is a completely different preparation process.
You have to have that 3rd pitch.
Yep.
And, you know, you've got to have the base and
be able to sustain velocity, you know, for a high pitch count. I give a lot of credit, you know, to the Indians starting staff and how hard they work. You know, Carlos Carrasco, he's the first guy to the complex in spring training at, 4:30 in the morning? Just getting after it.
Urshela draws a walk. By my count, that's the 7th walk issued by the Tigers tonight.
You are correct.
So the Indians have had their fair share of free base runners. Roberto Perez fouls one back.
It's another guy, too, offensively that has made great strides going the opposite way. You see a lot of his homers to right center. Yeah, Tito talked about it. He kind of learned on the fly this year, some things. And the game probably sped up on him a little bit. You talk about, a different preparation as a starter and a reliever. When you're a backup catcher and you're used to playing the day games or, second games of a doubleheader, those are really your only reps, so not a lot of consistency to be able to stay on point. It's a luxury of everyday players have. But Roberto Perez, he opened a lot of eyes. He handled the staff, I think, as well as anybody has. He's throwing out base runners. I mean, if you need Billy Hamilton to be gunned down at second, that's your guy. Owns him.
Waves at that pitch, and Feliz strikes him out 2 away. Well, for those of you watching tonight, wondering, that doesn't sound like Rick Manning. Rick's off tonight. He'll be back tomorrow. And Jensen Lewis is out of the bullpen for us today.
You know what's funny? History repeating itself. You remember my debut with you in 2005 when I signed? Came up in the booth, and Hammy just threw me on to do an inning.
Mm-hmm.
You were there.
Yeah.
You've been here a lot of the broadcasts first for me. I think you're good luck. I keep you around.
How about that?
Yeah, right in the fire. Double dip today. Go get him, kid.
Yeah, right on. That's the way it always goes. Well, it was weird because Friday we got here and it was raining, and it kind of looked like, well, it's probably going to be here for a while, and then all of a sudden somebody said, the forecast has just got worse. It's really bad. And so they rained it out fairly early, 7:30, I think, 8 o'clock. We were out of here. And then yesterday we came, and at first the word was, well, looks like there's going to be a window. Looks like this is going to move out and we'll be okay. And then within minutes I ran into somebody else who said, the forecast looks awful. And we waited till about 9:40 officially before they said, okay, that's it. Because Major League Baseball, these are important games. They want to make sure they get played. Mm-hmm. And they did all they could, but there was just no way. That system just sat right over downtown Cleveland. Down in Columbus, 75, beautiful.
Oh, perfect.
Outstanding. But here, just a torrential downpour most of the night.
Watching a Buckeyes game yesterday, it was 70 and perfect, and you look out the window and 2 hours north. I had my DVR set. I was all ready to see you.
Well, and then, of course, the problem is that you end up with an extra game that they can't. There's nowhere to put it. They can't get it played. Can't play a triple header. So, no official word yet on where that game potentially would be made up. It would logically sound like if it was necessary, they would play it Monday after the season wraps up here against Boston. Line towards short, and that'll end the inning. We've played 6. It's the Tigers 8 and the Indians 2. Alan Jensen will start our night with Indians Live at 6:30. First pitch at 7 o'clock right here on Sports Time Ohio.
Back to the wind tunnel.
Back to the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a popular spot, and I know the set has been popular for folks to stop by before and after the game.
Absolutely. And when the Cavs were playing too and got all those people down there staying, I remember Alpal and I, we got done with one of those post games and the Cavs were still playing, so we just walked right over. They got it right down there. It's an absolutely fantastic spot. If you haven't been, come on out this homestand and check it out.
I admit I haven't had time to look at the details about the next phase of the renovation,
right.
But it sounds like similar concept, and they're going to extend it down sort of behind home plate. Wow,
right.
That ball scorched past Gavin Floyd and into center field by Castellanos. But it makes sense. If that's a popular concept, people enjoy it, why not sort of add more of it to the ballpark?
Absolutely. Take a look at this fastball right down the middle. Return to sender. I think the thing with the corner, too, you look at the millennials and the last of the Generation X. A lot of people nowadays, you don't have those traditional fans that are going to sit in their seat for 9 innings. You want to move around. You're meeting with friends or people that get off work, coming in late. The vantage points are great. And every Friday night we've had fireworks. I mean, that place is packed. And yes, we have a little college game day feel in our set.
You're going to start pulling out mascot heads?
Oh, man.
Swing and a miss.
Can't take away from the great Lee Corso,
no.
But we get Alpal to start putting caps on or something.
So I noticed that Jose Ramirez had come onto the field, so he, right now with the shift on, he's over at second base. Aviles is on the second base side of the bag, but I think Aviles is at short, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll wait till they flip around, but I believe Aviles is the new shortstop, and Ramirez is now at second base. But 1-2 the count here for Gavin Floyd. This has been a good story, Jensen. Anytime you get a guy who goes through that and you come back to get on the field.
Yeah, talk about a bad break for him, having to go through surgery again and rehabbing.
Breaking ball spiked in the dirt. And Perez couldn't do anything but just try to get his body in front of it.
It was great to see in Toronto, when he made his season debut. Just the joy in his face.
Yep.
Just what a moment. You never take it for granted that you get to pitch in a big league ball game, and if there's no better example, and he said it himself. You do all that work to get back, and just to be back out there again. Definitely had nerves going. You could see it. It was fun to watch.
The 2-2. And that breaking ball is down low.
It's the guy, too. You talk about looking at your possible roster for next year. He's made it known that he's really appreciated what the training staff has done for him, and kind of wants to return the favor if it works out. And there's another veteran guy. And that's initially why they brought him in, a veteran guy that can eat innings, be a contributor. Talk about another veteran presence with these young starters. A lot to learn.
At the end of the day, that decision will all come down to what kind of price can they negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's not the player's fault that he got hurt. But at the end of the day, that's a lot of money out the window that
Sure
he didn't
is.
get any return on.
Yep.
The 3-2. So you have to, if you're Chris Antonetti, you have to weigh the risk. Do we take another chance? Do we roll it? Look what happened with Grady Sizemore.
I know.
Unfortunately, there's history, medical reports, and they've got all the data and the information that they'll use to make those decisions. But just recent history alone tells you, yeah, that's a big risk.
Well, and the economics of it, you hear that argument a lot. What is worth, that kind of price tag? You go into this with your eyes open now. Been around him, know the kind of character of the person, and
right. You don't have to worry about him, not putting in the effort and sort of just I don't feel so good. That's not it.
Sure.
But when there's a history of injury, you just wonder, can he hold up? Can he be durable enough to get you through a season? Those are all questions that people that way above our pay grade, as they say, right?
That's right. We do the speculating; they do the check writing.
Well, I do know this. He's I think he's well respected in that clubhouse. A lot of the guys, as you said, were pulling for him, really happy for him to come back, and so there won't be any character issue at all. It'll just come down to
what can they afford?
Yeah, what can they afford, and how much are you willing to risk, I suppose. Look, there's risk involved with any free agent contract you sign, especially on a pitching deal.
Mm-hmm.
It boggles my mind to see long-term pitching contracts handed out. 4, 5, 6-year deals.
7-year deals, too.
Wow.
At the price, take Verlander. He's going to make $28 million next year.
And then make that for the next couple of years, too, after that.
And with what happened this year, how long it took for him to come back from that triceps injury, you lose almost a half season. You talk about history. Obviously, he's done so much for that organization and taken them to the World Series. But you're right. You look year 4, year 5 of those big deals.
Well, look, nobody likes CC Sabathia more than you and I.
Mm-hmm.
We love the guy, but that's a tough contract. Now the Yankees, hey, they can afford to deal with the fact that he's had some injuries, and the last couple of years not quite as good, but he produced for a long time. But at some point, when you go long-term on a pitching contract, there's going to be a couple of years where it's not good for the organization, for the team. So those are all the risks that everybody weighs when they enter into those agreements.
I think that's what you look at with going into this free agent class, looking at the big-time hitters that are going to be out there. Cespedes has been hurt. Upton has been hurt. The production, you think about Justin Upton, how about all those home runs he hit in Atlanta in April, and then nothing, just a power outage after that.
Look, it's doing this as long as I have now, I've come to the conclusion that this is Major League Baseball is unnatural for the human body. To go 6 months with about 20 days off roughly throughout a season.
Yes.
It's difficult. And so there are no machines that plow through an entire season, and stay healthy. And that's why I think as a general manager and ownership, it's tough putting a team together because you're going to be shorthanded at some point. That's an awesome double play. That ball was really smoked. And Aviles stayed right with it. And it goes 6-4-3 on the Twin Killer, 2 away.
Critical part of this double play is Aviles not taking a step in. He waits back long enough and gets that hop. Good job going to the underhand to Hosey. Over to first, the double play. Hosey has really impressed me, too. His defensive ability up the middle. Aviles, obviously a guy that's been around for a while, has played all the positions.
There's a line drive into center field and a base hit for Andrew Romine. That drives home Castellanos, and it's a 9-2 Tigers lead. Well, the Tigers have made themselves right at home here at Progressive Field for a number of years, and even though the Tribe got them in the first 2 games of the series, they're back to what they normally have done. Since 2013, Tigers have gone 20-7 here at Progressive Field and averaged almost 7 runs per game. So in the first 2, Tribe held them to 2 and 5. That's pretty good. That's below their average over the last few years. But here tonight, they've broken loose a little bit.
I think we were looking at Miguel Cabrera's career production, career stats. He's got 10% of his RBIs against the Indians.
That all? Only 10?
Yeah. He's got to have, well, let's see. He's got over 1,400 RBIs. And against the Indians, it's way up there. The amount of production.
That'd be 129 coming into today.
And 40 homers.
Swung out and missed. The inning is over. Gavin Floyd gets the K, but the Tigers get another run, and they lead it 9-2. The seventh inning stretch is brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. Lonnie Chisholm laying out in deep right field, taking extra bags away from Rajai Davis.
Sensational. Full tilt, full extension. Pitcher's best friend right there. He's going to be watching that replay a couple times tonight.
Bottom of the seventh inning. And Jose Ramirez going to lead it off for the Tribe. Neftali Feliz worked a scoreless 6 with a couple of strikeouts. Stays on here to pitch the 7th.
So Houston beats the Angels. That's good news. So today, pretty much a wash in the standings.
Yeah, Texas beat up Oakland
12-4. Twins won again today.
Yeah, they shut out the White Sox.
Yankees finally get off the schneid.
They're underway in Baltimore, where the Royals are taking on the Orioles tonight before Kansas City comes here tomorrow night. Popped up on the infield. 1 away. So at the moment, this is the way the wild card standings look.
Well, they got back to 500 for a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to stay there long.
A few hours.
At least for tonight anyway.
Catching the Angels in that loss column, though, that's big.
Smashed right back at Phillies. And he got down in a hurry. Aviles aboard with a 1-out single. His second hit of the night.
Watch your lips right there. Look out. Duck and cover. I'll tell you not to throw it there again.
1 on, 1 out. Carlos Santana, the batter.
Was lucky enough to never get hit by one of those comebackers. I have had a couple go through the wickets. Thank goodness. They were definite mistakes.
Remember Hideki Okajima?
Yeah.
I don't know how he did. Remember, he wasn't even looking at the plate when he threw the ball.
Right.
I don't know how that worked, for one thing. Santana to center field. And Davis makes the catch. 2 away.
Well, Feliz has definitely looked a lot better as far as stuff and location. That's a guy that, man, if you're Detroit, well, the former closers they've got on their roster: Nathan out for the year, Soria
traded,
Feliz.
Did they have Chamberlain and released him at one point?
Yes. Well, you just wonder if Chamberlain if they had left him as a reliever, that would have been one of the more dominant 1-2 punches in the back end. And New York now with Betances and Miller, pretty good, pretty dynamic. But boy, what could have been? Man, that was a fun series. I was warming up when the midgets were coming out because we didn't know what was going on.
There were bugs everywhere.
Everywhere.
And whereas Carmona seemed to be impervious, or at the very least oblivious to the bugs, they were deep in Jabba Chamberlain's kitchen.
They were. I'll give it to a kid. Give it to the kid. There you go.
The 0-2. Upstairs with it.
Remember Grady sliding into home. Just almost like football tackling Chamberlain, too. This place went nuts. Hafner walks us off.
The 1-2. Yeah, This place was up for grabs that night.
You know, I wasn't here for the wild card game, but how was the atmosphere comparably?
It was great. It's just, Tampa scored early, and the Indians never really threatened, so it kind of took them out of it early.
Right.
But, when the game started, when it got off, it was definitely electric.
So one thing I'll always remember about old Yankee Stadium, they had 62,000 in there for that playoff series. Game 3, the mound was shaking. Like, I felt the mound shaking under my feet when Jeter came up to "I Run New York."
The 1-2 pitch. And Lonnie shoots it right at Castellanos to end the inning. No runs, a hit, a man left. We go to the 8th, 9-2 Detroit.
Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Indians Live, presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care, is coming up next. Here on Sports Time Ohio with Al Pawlowski. He'll have the highlights to get you caught up on anything you may have missed earlier today. The Indians winning 7-2 in the first game of the doubleheader, but here in the nightcap, it's been all Detroit ever since they tied the game in the third and then took the lead in the fourth. Indians scored first with 2 in the first, but it's been all Detroit since. And if indeed this holds up, it will definitely buck the trend, so to speak, because the Indians coming into tonight, when they scored first, were 44-13.
Wow.
And the Tigers had only 19 come from behind victories this year. That's the fewest in the league. So normally for Cleveland, you score a couple early. That usually means there's good result at the end, but not tonight. Santana will go himself, 1 away.
Yeah.
Our Pat O'Brien Chevrolet play of the game goes back to that 4th inning. Rajai Davis at the dish and drives in a pair. That was the last batter Trevor Bauer faced tonight. And that made it 5-2.
Yeah, Bauer just never got going. And we would mention that perhaps it would settle him in.
Oh, nice pick at third by Urshela. 2 away.
He's pretty good.
That's like I said, that the ball that was blistered by him earlier
Look at this.
He makes every play, so you expect him to just catch everything.
That's a tough short hop, too. I mean, that's not an easy play. And he very nonchalant, very confident. I love his arm, too.
Yeah, it's late in the season. I think he's just trying to save a few bullets over there. So if he doesn't have to, he doesn't rip it across. He just kind of feather touches that ball across the diamond.
He had Miggy walking to first, too.
That's right. Now, if he has to unload, he can still do that. But
well, the play he made, it was against New York. Gardner hit that ball, and he did the jump throw. You got to have such a strong arm to be able to get over, and much less against Gardner's one of the fastest guys in the league.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun to watch him. Both him and Lindor just play with that enthusiasm and the joy that they.
It's where ground balls go to die now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as Andre reported earlier in the year, there's a sort of playful camaraderie, but they push each other too.
Yep.
You know, they want to outdo each other.
And they certainly have.
It'll be tough to outdo that guy, though, the way he's been going. J.D. Martinez fouling it out of play.
You think about where the Indians were at the beginning of the season. Jose Ramirez was your shortstop. Lonnie Chisenhall, your third baseman. And now, Lindor and Urshela. And you're right, it is the chemistry that they have, and obviously the God-given ability.
Base hit in the left field. Martinez with a 3-hit night.
I think there's something to be said, too, for Mike Aviles. You know, understanding that Lindor being the shortstop in waiting, he took everything in stride. And he made it a point when Lindor came up and Urshela came up to really be a mentor and be a sounding board. You don't find that a lot. You know, this game, it's hard enough, to keep a job. But even more so when, the future of the franchise is, taking your spot. But he's just been masterful. Great teammate. Guy that cares. Obviously, with his personal situation, it'd be very easy, to
sort of check out. Maybe.
Yeah, have your thoughts somewhere else for sure. Very admirable in how he's gone about his business.
Just missed. Victor Martinez with a single and a run scored tonight.
Just not one of those crisp nights for Gavin Floyd. Kind of the first time that he's had some multiple innings to work with here and kind of fighting himself just a little bit.
Top of the strike zone, outside corner.
He's really an intriguing option, for next year, and the success that he's had against the Central.
Yeah,
you can understand why the Indians made that move. But as you said, man, if he can stay healthy, this is a guy prolifically going 200-plus innings on a staff that had Burley, Danks, still running it up there, 93, 94 miles an hour. The velocity is there. Always had a really good breaking ball. He's a guy you just did not want to face when he was on.
Now the payoff pitch. Runner goes, and Victor fouls it away.
Going to be a pretty interesting battle for that fifth spot. You got Tomlin, Cody Anderson, Floyd resigns. Always need starting pitching depth, and what those guys have been able to do down the stretch. Man, how good has Tomlin been?
Yeah, he's been tremendous. Big chopper. Santana can't come up with it. He recovers and throws him out. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th. 9-2 Detroit. Back in the 4th inning, this is when the game got away from the Indians. Nick Castellanos started it off with a ball that probably should have been caught by somebody. And then a ball off the plate that is, just tough luck. Bang, bang play, he's safe. And then Dixon Machado smokes one that drops perfectly between a couple of outfielders. And after a walk to Andrew Romine, Rajai Davis knocks in 2 right up the gut. Trevor Bauer's day was over. It happened that fast. So a bloop, a ball off the plate, a fly ball in the outfield that I'm not saying it should have been caught, but it looked like there might have been a slight miscommunication. Then a walk and a ball up the gut, and that's how fast this game unraveled for Trevor Bauer tonight.
As we said, I think Randy Wolf had 50 pitches in the first inning. Indians, they had chances to really break this one wide open. And as you said, the 4th inning, the undoing. Well, it did happen quick. And we just looked up, and all of a sudden it's 5-2.
After 2 scoreless innings, Neftali Feliz gives way to Jose Valdez. Chopper to short. 1 down. Going to bring up Jerry Sands, who's 0 for 1 with a couple of walks tonight. Hard hit ground ball. Wilson throws him out. 2 away.
And Valdez, pretty straight fastball. He's running up there 97 miles an hour. A couple of crisp ground balls, but right at guys. If there's one thing you look at with Giovanni Urshela this year, Boy, his struggles against right-handed pitching.
Well, you know, one way to possibly look at his struggles this year offensively is, remember, he came up and swung the bat pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a guy he's gone through a lot this year. He had the knee injury in the offseason. He kind of got that healthy. Then he had the back problem in spring training, and I think that bothered him during the season. Then he had another nagging injury. I just think he's just worn down maybe.
Yeah.
And I think when you get tired, you start swinging at everything.
Sure. Well, and you have to have respect for the length of the season. You still got young guys here that are, playing a full 162. In the minor league season, you're already home. If you're in AAA, and
right on.
Your off season has begun.
With 2 down, a 1-2 pitch coming. I think for a guy like Urshela, it will be important. This will be a big off season for him. I don't think he's going to play winter ball. He's going to try to get healthy, just get strong, work out so that he can gear up for 162.
I know a lot of my former teammates. Oh, Valdez tried to walk that one off. A lot of my former teammates that did play winter ball, it was just kind of keep their edge, or they were going for a job, coming into camp. I think Gio probably knows he's going to be on this team. And there is a different, training regimen in this off season when you make your debut, and then you have to go through a full big league camp, have your body, especially as a position player, physically able to handle the grind. Lindor's going to have to do the same thing. Try and avoid those sophomore slumps. The league is going to catch up, and then making your adjustments from there.
Good at bat for Urshela. He was down on the count. Now he's worked it back to a full count. And he strikes him out to end the inning. We'll head to the ninth. 9-2 Detroit.
Afterwards, we'll recap both the games for you with Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. For now, let's go back upstairs to Matt and Jensen. And guys, full day of baseball here. The Indians, should things hold up the way they are, still be 4.5 games within a wild card spot heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess it's always disappointing, Al. You win the first game, you want to take both. You get greedy, you want the sweep, and because of the situation they're in, as we pointed out, when you're playing catch-up, as the days click off, you have less margin for error.
Well, it's the way that they started this second game, too. You get an early lead, you give Bauer a cushion, and you feel very good about those chances, too. And it just unraveled so quickly. But you're right, your opportunities to start making up even more ground here, they're starting to really be a challenge. You always want to control your own destiny, and the Indians knew they had an uphill battle coming into September. Well, it's still there.
Well, after Gavin Floyd worked a couple of innings, Sean Armstrong pitching here in the 9th. Hit to deep left field. That's over the head of Jerry Sands. He'll play it off the wall. And boy, Nick Castellanos has had a good night swinging the bat. He's 3 for 5.
That was flush.
Yes.
Oof. Felt that one all the way up here.
Our Yellowwood bringing the lumber features J.D. Martinez, who's also 3 for 5. He had a 2-run single, though, in the 3rd inning. An RBI double in the 6th. And then a base hit with 2 outs in the 8th inning.
He's done it to all parts of the ballpark. Guy that has really come into his own this season.
Alex Avila is bidding to join those guys with a 3-hit night. Outside corner, nailed it, 1-1.
Well, Bud, almost 8 hours of baseball today.
Yeah. First 4 or 5 were pretty good.
Yeah. I was going to start off my color analyst career at 2-0.
Well, unless we have a major miracle, you're going to get the split.
It'll be at 500.
2-2 on Avila.
Randy Wolf was trying to throw 100 pitches in the first inning and give me a shot at it.
A 50-pitch first inning for Randy Wolf today, but he only allowed 2 runs.
Still mind-boggling to think about that. We've seen 30, 35 pitch first innings where you give up 5, 6 runs, but 50 and only give up 2. Houdini.
Almost chased after it, but he held up.
Big series starting tomorrow. Big. 4.5 back if it holds here. And where does Texas go?
Good question.
Let's see where they go.
Well, it'll be in the West probably somewhere. Slowly chopped to short. And Aviles throws him out. 1 away.
Yeah.
They go to Houston, a 4-game series. Or I don't know if they go to Houston, but that's who they're playing.
Yeah, Houston will travel there. Angels will go to Seattle. Tigers will be playing the Twins. Good old-fashioned scoreboard watching.
Be a lot of it in the next week or so. Every game becoming more and more critical. Josh Wilson came into the game when Dixon Machado appeared to tweak something going down the first baseline back in the 5th.
It's another young kid in spring training. Had a really good camp. Another power arm.
Yeah. Yeah, he gets it up there in a hurry.
I'd have to get in my car. Try and drive as fast as these guys are throwing it.
He tried to hold up, but he went around. 2 down as Armstrong gets the strikeout.
Good fastball right here up in the zone. Toughest pitch for hitters to lay off because it looks so good. Nice backspin right there. See ya. Free air conditioning.
Andrew Romine with a runner at third and 2 down. Paints the outside part of the plate with a good fastball.
He took something off that right there at 92. Oh, that bat. Look at.
Yeah.
That is dinged up, man.
He's got a few marks on it.
Gosh.
Now a 1-1.
Get our old buddy Edinson Volquez tomorrow against Carlos Carrasco. How about the year that he's had? 13-7, 3.49 ERA. Big pickup for them.
Up high, 2-2.
Down in Texas, Scott Kazmir, former Indian, go against Cole Hamels.
That almost picked off the runner.
Sure
At least
did.
it sure scared him.
That's a guy. Cole Hamels finally put it together. His last 5 starts, 3-0, 3.34 ERA.
Well, you think back when they made that trade, you know, a lot of people said, well, that's really for next year. That's
right.
Not necessarily. And all of a sudden, everything fell into place for Texas. And so it is for this year.
Mm-hmm.
But and beyond.
Texas only a game and a half back of Houston.
Armstrong ready with the 2-2. And a foul back by Romine.
Yeah, Texas put it together really quickly. Well, they've made up a ton of ground in the West. Well, still Angels. Angels only 4.5 back, but you would think after the Indians swept them here, I think a lot of us thought LA may be done. But they have treaded water nicely and still very much alive.
But that's a killer loss today. You know,
Sure is.
You got the lead, you're in the 9th, you get your closer, and you lose it. That hurt. Bottom of the 9th coming up. To the game. Well, the Indians were trying to make it 15 straight games with 10 hits, but they are woefully short. Just 5 hits so far tonight. Bauer fastball command, and again, this is going to be one of those games where you look back on it, numbers look bad. He didn't pitch as bad. It just some weird things happened during his outing, and what are you going to do?
Yeah, just a victim, I think, too, of balls going in spots where just in no man's land.
Yeah, a ball that blooped down the line, looked like somebody was there to catch it, didn't get caught. Ball off the plate, chopped up in the air, bang, bang, play at first, he's safe. And you get a ball to the outfield, it was well hit, but it was close to being caught, but wasn't. And then a walk, and then the 2-run single, and his day was over just like that. Before you knew it, they had built a commanding 6-2 lead and have not looked back.
And Bauer's next start will come against the White Sox. He was very sharp at U.S. Cellular. Really good stuff that day.
Roberto Perez takes low, 2-0.
Kyle Crockett getting some work done in the pen. You think overall, you look back at 18 innings of baseball today. Started out really well. Pretty solid victory. Game 1.
Grounded to third. Castellanos throws him out. Nice adjustment by Jerry Marte on the back end.
All looked at everything was going pretty well to start game 2, but Tigers score 5 consecutive innings, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Well, that's the thing. When it happened fast.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Martinez takes a strike. Michael is 0 for 3 on the day.
We'll certainly be Tigers fans for this next series as they play the Twins. Continue to help them out.
Out of play.
Boy, you think back to how the Indians played the Tigers earlier this season in the first half. And the way they've kind of finished.
Yeah,
the way they've finished now, I mean, games that you have to win, and they've been winning most of them. Tonight's going to sting, too, because you had the lead. You had the lead against Wolf.
Tigers won 9 out of the first 11 meetings this year.
Ooh. Handily, too. I mean, I don't think there were a lot of close games.
No, not many. Indians had won 5 of the last 6 before tonight. But Detroit turned the tables on them here this evening. Left-hander Kyle Lobstein gets the call for Detroit tomorrow against Minnesota's Tyler Duffy. Then it's Alfredo Simon against Phil Hughes. And then to be determined for Detroit in the finale against Irvin Santana.
Well, that's been a guy down the stretch here for Minnesota that has really helped them. Suspended for the first half of the season, violating PED rules. Kind of a mid-season acquisition, so to say, for that rotation.
Upstairs, ball 1.
Well, Vilas had a tough night behind the plate. He's ready to get on the plane and get out of here.
Now a 1-1. Chopped to short. Big bounce for Romine, and that'll do it. Detroit salvages the finale as they beat the Indians 9-2 here tonight. Indians fall back a game below 500 at 70-71. Detroit will leave town 65-77. Tribe won the first 2 games of the series, including the first half of this doubleheader. But here tonight, they fell woefully short by a final score of 9-2.
Pleasure, buddy.
Yeah.
First time.
Thanks for filling in.
Yeah.
Appreciate the